Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Welcome to Guy School Musical, a podcast about teenagers. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, there's a spin-off
Oh God!
called Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
Can we? Sharpay, I do think deserves a big bulk of our time. That was the character I was immediately drawn to as like that person is the one that was for us. You know what I mean? Like out of all the characters, she's for us.
She has the wildest like arc
deal.
Yeah, because her arc basically
what?
ends with her being like, never mind.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Break a leg, and I mean that in a good way.
They all forgive her.
She's also
like the Joker.
Yeah, kind of. She's also named after a dog breed.
Yeah,
it's like
she sure is.
Why did you do that? That's not a kind name for your child. What are you doing?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
This is the intro. This is how we're introducing it. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I assumed the second and I say words that it's in the podcast.
Yes, 100%.
We don't leave anything out of this podcast.
We don't have to say hi or anything. Yeah. We don't have to say our names.
No. They've seen the thing. Our shame is publicly displayed, as it often is.
I have so many places to start here.
Great.
Because I
wrote a lot of notes.
whole vibes of this place where it doesn't feel like reality.
Not at all. So far from reality.
It was shot in Utah, and I don't know. I've never been to Utah, but it feels like Utah. Does that make sense?
I thought it was definitely Colorado, Utah. Like I didn't know where it was shot, but it was like not the real world.
Yeah, it feels like hell. And what I mean by that, hear me out.
Oh, sure, that's what I'm here to do, Dave. For all 5 hours of this, whatever this is going to be.
It's a musical about characters who don't like musicals.
Yes.
So, imagine if you told these characters that their lives exist in the thing they hate.
Yeah, that's true. It's very Sartrean.
Yeah,
it's very like, hell is other people. I see.
Exactly. Like they don't know. I sort of imagine at the end of this movie ends where it begins. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is a time. They're trapped here.
I think they're trapped.
They're trapped here.
I really do.
No doubt. I mean, can I get the easiest text reading out of the way? Because I feel like you and I are going to want to talk about this much. Can I skip? I know nothing about this. I was shoved into my eyes not 2 hours ago for the first time.
Yeah,
I was
not excited about it.
No, I was bummed about this one. I was like, I don't want to see this. I didn't know that this is why Zac Efron was a guy. Or Vanessa Hudgens. I didn't know that. I looked at both.
And what's her name? Ashley Tisdale or whatever. I was like, that's
great.
What that is.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was either. I didn't know what any of these freaks
didn't
were.
Know.
Yeah.
It is. It feels like it can't be accidental. It is the most coming out story.
Yeah.
Movie I've ever seen that isn't explicitly about that.
You're right.
Oh, that is the only reading of this. I feel like it was like their love story's nothing. You know
their
what I mean?
Love story's nothing.
It's nothing.
You're right. Is that it's about the high school, the basketball, he's great. And he secretly has this theater thing he wants to do.
Yeah.
And nobody accepts him. And then his friends accept him in the end.
His dad doesn't accept him. As we'll talk about later, doesn't have a mom. So okay. His
dad, who is, I guess, single father, high school basketball coach.
Yeah,
they live in a mansion.
Yeah, billionaire. That
we'll
mansion was
offensive.
I was like,
everybody
lives
in a fucking mansion. Again, it feels like it's the high school itself, the geography. It was like the Overlook Hotel.
Very confusing.
Like I kept not knowing where it was. It's a haunting film.
Yeah.
It's
on a costume level, many mysteries are asked and none resolved. Like on in an outfit level, like it's like what place and time and place are we at?
That was a lot of my questions was like, is this because I haven't been to high school in quite a while?
Sure.
This was 2006.
Sure.
And it was like, is this were high schools like this at any point? I don't think so.
Well, I want to save some of the bits that it immediately occurred to me about this for as we go through the walk by walk. But I will say, I don't think the people who made this had been to high school recently either.
No, I don't think so.
Or they forgot it. They entirely forgot it.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, because again, broad strokes, it's about the underdog basketball team competing with like the mighty theater. Like it's about it's about the basketball star just like bulldozing into the theater group. Like, you guys have been in power enough.
Yeah.
I'm taking over here.
That drama woman is a Nazi.
Yeah.
It's epic. It's like, what is happening in here?
Yeah.
What topsy-turvy reality is it? It felt like this is a multiverse. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it felt like a Simpsons multiverse where it's like, oh, Homer sat on the bug this time. I see what happened.
Everything's not quite right.
Yeah, nothing's right.
Everything's
it's
a
all
little
wrong.
off.
Everything's wrong. Nothing's good. Down is up. Yeah, everything sucks. It's Dave, did you enjoy it at all? Did you enjoy the movie at all? Did it win you over at all?
So I laughed a few times. I was enjoying the camp of it all.
Sure.
There was a point where I wrote in my notes, this is the point where I no longer want to watch the movie anymore.
Yep. I gotta guess when that is.
It was I actually don't I have it in my notes, but I don't have it the exact moment. I should have written it down.
I'm gonna guess it's right around the time everyone starts scheming. That's when I started to get exhausted with the movie.
The scheming on the scheme. This is a school of schemers.
Yeah.
The beginning sequence the beginning school sequence. Everybody's like hiding behind things and like peeking over corners at each other.
Yep. It's weird.
It's like a Shakespeare play. Like everybody's fucking scheming.
It's weird how sometimes the movie thinks it's like Rent or Chicago. So like everybody in it is doing the musical thing where they're like creeping around like it's Cats, but there's no musical number happening, so it's just these weird creeps being weird. Like it's like
just creepy.
Get into a song so I know the reality's heightened, or don't do this. Like help me, movie.
Speaking of,
do you want to go all the way through minute by minute?
What's your thoughts on musicals? Just so we lay down some ground rules.
Thank you for asking. Okay. I don't like them. Although this movie made me realize there are things about musicals I like. Because it didn't deliver those things. So I was like, okay. So I guess I do like some things about musicals.
It does. So it has the basic structure of most musicals. What I mean by that is most musicals, I'm not an expert, but I went to performance art school, so I've dealt with a lot of fucking musicals.
Sure.
And they're better live. You know, like a movie musicals are fine. I like some of them. I'm not a huge fan.
I tend to like the ones that are that really go into the theater of it all more than the ones that are like that are trying to maintain some sense of reality. Like Chicago's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because it's like it gets abstract because that's the kind of movie it is. And I'm like,
it's her fantasies, I believe. It's she's gone crazy and she's imagining life as a musical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the songs, I don't know if this is a hard and fast rule, but the songs usually go in moments of character exposition.
Yes, that's right.
Which does happen in this.
Not much.
Yeah, it does at first, and then it goes back and forth. Again, she has a song about how she's like sad that he badmouthed her. There's
at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like so like there are good musical things. I don't want to like it's just not my preference. Like
there's
a lot of
Disney.
Too. Yeah. A lot of Disney movies that are musicals are very good. And like, I think in some ways, this is the Disney Channel, by the way. So like they should be
this
good
is a TV movie. Yeah.
But it's Disney. You know what I mean? Like this should be their bread and butter. They didn't do the thing that almost every musical does, which is use songs to explain the emotional dilemmas of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never did
more
that.
to explain like, They do what the "Get Your Head in the Game" song, which is a bad song.
Get your head in the gay. They almost did not. No, dude, that's not even a joke.
Shit.
I was writing that down when they were singing it because I was like, they're not saying game. Like, they're not saying the M letter here. It's weird.
It's weird.
If you listen to it, it's like
fascinating.
They didn't fix that. They should have fixed it, you know?
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't put much. This is a low effort. I think this is a low effort, high returns deal.
Sure.
Because like that song, for example, I'm pretty sure most of the lyrics are just variations of them saying "Get your head in the game." Like there's a few songs where it's just them repeating a sentence over and over again, and it's like, I hate this.
Yeah, this doesn't have the cleverness that you're used to with a musical where like there's play on words and there's kind of like a Shakespearean aspect to it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's none of that really going on here.
It feels a lot of first draft.
It feels very thrown together that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's Disney being like, because all right, I thought this had already been a TV show, but I don't think it had been. I think it became a TV show.
I like from what I'm hearing about that. I did a little bit of research, like straw polls with my friends is what I mean by this. This was a huge hit with like people, like culturally for in a certain age, they fucking loved this. And I think it wasn't supposed to be, or it far out exceeded their expectations.
Yes. Apparently this was originally, they were just like tossing them out. And this was the first thing. And then they were like, all right, let's do theatrical runs. Let's do a TV spin-off. I had assumed this was like the because it felt cheap and it felt like it was shot like a TV show that had already been established.
Absolutely. It felt very That's So Raven or like everything else on the Disney Channel.
They have like TV transitions. Well, they do establishing shot of the school.
Oh, yeah.
And like a little musical sting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It didn't have anything you would expect from a feature film in terms of really any of it. Like it all felt very much like they shot this in 15 days. Or like 20 days or whatever,
a single location, basically. Yeah. I think they're just like, let's crap this out. And then it made so much money. And they're like, well, we can keep crapping this out.
Yeah, we could do it for $2 million or whatever. And then, oh shit, we made $1 billion. Anyway.
Well, I wanted to start with the fucking ski trip.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, this is why I thought it was a musical. Yeah. Or already a TV show.
Yeah.
Because they don't introduce anything.
That's right. Yes, that's correct.
You have to learn from context clues.
Yes.
It starts with the ski lodge, fucking these rich honkies. The whole high school's on a ski trip for the New Year's.
Well, that's the thing about it is which group of people is this that they're on the ski trip with? None of them ever. You don't see any of them ever again.
Right.
There's none of those people are there.
I thought some of them were. I don't know.
I don't think so, man.
It's every scene. Yeah, every scene has what's that called? The fucking cheerleader rallies.
Rallies.
Yeah,
pep
rallies.
Yeah.
Every scene has that pep rally energy where it feels like everybody already knows each other.
Yeah.
And they're all really excited.
Yeah.
Like Zac Efron is the most popular person in any room he's in.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they all in this scene, I thought this was the high school. Like, again, it feels like the Saved by the Bell Christmas special where they're all like, hey, gang, here we are at the lodge. Like, that was the energy, even though I guess this was like our first peek into this world.
It was extremely difficult to figure out what the intention was for the meeting that Zac Efron has with Vanessa Hudgens. Like, I was like, this is like, this felt like I stumbled into the midpoint. That's literally what I wrote down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like,
what is this?
I literally, because again, I was assuming it had already been a TV show. I was like, okay, so there was some sort of cliffhanger with these characters. They had the vibe of two people who were friends, and then one of them like told the other they loved them, and it got awkward or something.
Right, and then they reunited here or something, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene later where they're like, so what's your name? And I'm like, wait, they don't know each other?
Right. Also, if it's her first day or her first week at school, how did she get to this trip?
I don't know.
Who invited her to this fucking place?
It's, again, the pacing, it's a fever dream. Like, and so it starts with them doing basketball, and again, it's him playing with what we have to assume is his dad, which is a safe assumption.
It is his dad. I was thrilled by the idea of like Zac Efron's agents being like, "You're not allowed to stuff him, man." You know what I mean? Like you're not allowed to play real basketball against this kid and make him look bad because like he shoots a couple of jump shots and they're like, I'd have stuffed the shit out of that kid if I was that guy. Like that shit is over. You know what I mean?
He would have been in his face.
I wanted to see it so bad. Just like let's start this thing off right, man.
And so the first conflict is Troy. You got to go to the party. He's like, but I want to play more basketball.
Oh, is that his mom? By the way, was that woman that comes out as mom?
They don't explain who anybody is.
Yeah, so that ruins a lot of the things that I was observing about this movie. If that was his mom, because like
I don't know. I don't either. We don't really formally. Again, it's like when I'm bad at this. When you bring a friend to a party and it's filled with people they don't know and you don't introduce them.
Yeah, and they're like,
that's
what's going on?
That's what this felt like. Yeah. That's why I just assumed this had all been established in a previous thing. Yeah, because they're just like, it's him. Here he is talking to this guy, and I was like, I guess we're supposed to know who these people are.
I think what we learned from that and this is the legit film critique piece of it, is like this is always going to be yada yada. You've seen movies. Like every emotional beat is yada yada. You've seen movies. You know,
so
all of them.
I don't know if that's his mom. We can say it's not for the sake of later observation,
because it's very important to me that his mother is dead to make sense of this movie.
It's important to me too. Yeah.
So like
that his father killed his mom for the money.
I have one also no opening credits. They get right to the action, which I kind of appreciated.
The credits are over it.
Yeah.
Where again, it felt like a TV. Yeah. It felt like a TV show,
which it was.
It's just, it's a weird, I don't know how these TV movies go.
I need to say a few remarks about this party. Okay. The first thing is at 25 seconds, there is a 10-year-old kid in a Viking hat. And I was like, there's no fucking way that would happen in New Year's. You can't convince a 10-year-old to wear that hat if all of his friends aren't doing it.
I wrote down the hats because it's a New Year's party and their way to signify that is funny hats.
Yeah. Hats. Yeah. I was
big
like, no
hat,
teenager.
Jamiroquai hats. Yeah.
Yeah. No teenager would ever wear this. Like never,
Never.
No, absolutely
I kept wondering because I kept forgetting it was New Year's because I was like, what is this party again? Oh, I guess it's New Year's. Like, here's the thing. A New Year, you put party hats on, like actual party hats. You have them have you make them have like grape juice champagne glasses.
Streamers and a sign and walk away.
Make it look like New Year's. Right. I'm begging you.
They're also in a snow lodge. Nobody's wearing a fucking jacket. Everybody's there in like a California 70-degree evening. You know what I mean? It's absurd. It's completely absurd.
Again, it's the geography. It's all a nightmare because it's a karaoke party where the karaoke stage is dead center in the room.
Terrible,
very
place.
Uncomfortable.
You want it in one corner so that you can ignore him if somebody can't sing.
And since Zac Efron is the most popular kid in every room, he walks in. They're like, "You gotta sing, and everybody puts him up there. And then they put Gabrielle up there. And then this moment, they act like they know each other and they're uncomfortable about this. That's how they act.
They never really figured out how to make their emotions clear, like between those two characters. Like I thought at times it was legitimately not clear whether they were interested in each other or not.
Yeah. Well, in this scene, it was unclear whether they knew each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you just need a scene where they get on stage and he goes, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm Troy." And she says, "I'm," like they introduce themselves on stage.
Yeah.
And they act awkward and like they separate friends are like, "Ooh, yeah."
So I want to retcon something here, Dave, because I think this might be important for understanding this franchise. So I want to remember the fact that as soon as everybody resolved everything, Vanessa Hudgens' character reappears in a red dress and starts flirting with every single person in that party. Okay. The reason I say that, like, that's how the movie resolves. So I want to backtrack from that. Yeah. Do we know anything about this woman? Do we know a single thing about this young woman?
Gabrielle?
Yeah.
Her defining character trait is that
she has a mom.
And she's undecided about what she wants to do at school. She mainly is just like, I don't want to commit to anything.
Yeah, right. Because apparently at her last school they burned nerds alive or something. Like, I just want to point out she never really we don't know how she got to this party. She never has any identifying like social indicators other than people saying things about her.
You think maybe she's a ghost?
She could be a ghost.
Yeah.
She could be a plant. You know what I mean? Like this could be a never been kissed situation going on here, right? She's a journalist writing a story.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, that could be happening, Dave, because they're doing other movie tropes once in a while here. Like she's all vatted the choreographer at the very end of the movie.
Yeah,
they took off her hat and it was like suddenly she's beautiful.
The composer.
Yeah, the composer.
She was she was probably my favorite character because and it's purely because she mostly kept to herself.
Yeah.
And she wasn't irritating.
And she was dressed like a fucking Pinkerton half this movie.
Yeah.
She's what is she doing?
Yeah, she was dressed like, I don't know, Blossom's friend or something like that.
Blossom. Oh, shit. That was worth it. Great show. Whoa.
So, this karaoke sequence. There's a few things that, again, made me feel like I was going insane.
Yeah.
So, they go up, the music starts, right? Yeah. And he does an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch this? Because it seems like she doesn't want to be up there and he doesn't want to.
Right.
And it is a question of, is she going to sing? And he gets irritated and he starts to
leave. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, why did he turn to leave? I don't.
He's going to bail on her in the before it even starts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if he left. Yeah. Imagine what a dick move that would have been.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That would have been
fun. The movie could have kept going.
Yeah, just like, let's watch her not do well. Or let's watch that extra that was standing next to him who was having the best night of his life. That extra was having an incredible night.
Giving it his all.
Yeah, there's once in a while you get a kid actor that's so bad it's like, thanks, thank you.
Yeah.
That kid was one of them. He was very good in the bad way.
There's kid actors. There's also like some 30-year-olds snuck in the mix, I noticed.
They're pretty young mostly, though.
Most of them,
like,
yes.
That's one thing I think is cool about this movie is they cast pretty close to high school age.
Yes.
You know, like it's not 90210. And I appreciate that.
And honestly,
choice.
Like, I'll say this at the top of it because I don't feel like at any point I'm going to be making fun of any kids. One, because they're all adults now.
Yeah.
And two, because everybody does a perfectly good job in this as a child actor, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I wasn't sitting here judging it on the performances because they were given these scripts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's sort of like they're doing the work that is required of them for this.
I think it never escapes the feeling of being a Disney TV show.
Yeah.
And Disney TV shows are young child actors who are learning the craft. And that's what it felt like.
Yes.
You know, like they weren't bad. They were fine. You know, like, what do we want them to do?
You know, like it's just like, these, I can see them all. Fucking Sharpay. I think she was in the Scary Movies. And I'm like, I can see her being like a broad comedic actress, being able to do like kind of some zany shit.
I thought she stood out as the most interesting actor of that, of this movie, but also she was the only one that was allowed to have any fun.
Exactly.
So like, I don't know, you know, it's hard to say.
Her brother lover got some stuff to do too.
Thank you for saying that, brother, because I was like, what's going on with those two? Anyway.
I thought they were a couple, and then like near the end she says, and my brother, and I'm like, he's your brother?
Yeah, what's going that didn't stop your theory, but it certainly added a wrench in the monkey, you know, like a monkey wrench in the works or whatever.
We're still in karaoke.
Oh, I know. Okay, great. Well, I have a thing for right after karaoke, so please, sir.
I can't stress enough that he was going to bail on her. And the only other thing I have is while they're singing this becomes a theme.
Yep.
They stop reading the lyrics of the TV screens. And the TV screens, in fact, turn into shots of the crowd.
Extra shots.
So it means that there are professional camera people. They're filming crowd.
These children.
Like it's a sports event. These are the richest fucking kids in the world. They're billionaires.
That place was, so much money.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough. How did she get invited there? What does that mean? You know,
how is she there?
Yeah. How is she there is a big problem. And I also can't stress enough. That was not the high school. That was a different group of people. You know, like,
and they all seem to know each other and are completely like they all know each other's names and everybody's having fun and liking each other.
None of them knew that he could sing.
Yeah.
None of the school knew he could sing, which means nobody from the school was at
there.
this thing. What is that like Mason's Club thing that's going on here? What is
I don't know.
Party?
Again, they're the richest people in the world.
Yeah. Just like handing out hats. You know,
I have to assume like his dad is the coach, but also he's like the CEO of Lockheed Martin.
That
like these
right.
are all these are all people who are just like doing this stuff for fun. Because we'll talk about the high school, because the high school is unlike any high school I've ever stepped foot in.
They indicated how wealthy they were at the end of that sequence when like when Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens exchange pictures.
Yep.
And I guess phone numbers, right? Like pictures.
And again, wild. They've just met.
Yeah, sure. And then they disappear, but not before they see a massive fireworks show celebrating New Year's.
Yep.
It's like it's just them in the valley, by the way. So like they just burned what, 30 grand on fireworks.
Of course,
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's wild that this story essentially follows an extremely wealthy kid who's good at everything and everybody likes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean that seems to be kind of the theme of all the movies you and I watch, Dave. Every movie we've ever watched has been that. I think, including Blood Rain somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Michael Madsen was pretty likable in that movie, as I recall. Yeah.
I feel like he's got money. He's probably.
Oh, yeah.
He probably lives in a mansion.
Yeah.
Like all these kids.
He was resigned to death, not disappointed.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Anyway.
He was like, I'm going to go die and go to my mansion.
Time to go get a whiskey sour in the afterlife.
So we cut to 1 week later. Are we ready for this? For Albuquerque, New Mexico, East High School.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's very important that's where it's set. I just need to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Why didn't they throw a Mickey Mouse in the fireworks? You know
what I mean? Might as well.
Yeah. There were several times where I was like, just do an ad. Like, it's clear we need one. Just do it. You know?
Later, this is skipping ahead, but later one of his friends tells him that he's going to take them to infinity and beyond.
That's like 10 seconds later. And I was like, why don't we have the Woody and Buzz pop up at the bottom? You know what I mean? I kind of missed it.
They should speak only in references to Disney films.
It should be all repurposed. All repurposed Disney lines. That's exactly what I wanted. The fact that it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico struck me with the following realization. Not 10, 15 miles away, probably less, Walter White is slowly turning into meth drug leader.
This is why.
He's the consequence of this high school and the affluent community they live in.
He's in the meth lab and you can just hear the muffled sounds of singing from down the block. And he's just like, ugh.
And he's like,
school's back in.
Yes, he's slowly getting cancer and turning, emotionally ill. Just imagine that the whole time.
So everybody's singing, excited to be back at school, like kids are. Like teenagers are really excited.
Right. Just so excited about the events of the week.
Yeah.
By the way,
I would be too if my school
was like that.
Yeah.
Was that paragon of like wealth and 4 stories and like completely
has
clean.
A garage.
Yeah.
It has a garage, and I don't think the garage is on the first story. It has a garage where there doesn't appear to be students working in it, just mechanics. And I'm like, again, it's like the Overlook Hotel, where it's like, what is this room that I'm in? It's dream logic.
Need your oil change, kids?
It's that. He's like this grease monkey with like a rags, and he's just like, hey, how's it going? Who are you, sir? What are you doing in this high school?
You're a sophomore, right? That means you're entitled to a 60,000-mile checkup. We can take care of that for you.
They were working on like old cars.
Yeah. How's your fluids?
Not a single high school kid was there.
No. The high school kids are too busy being in a drama class that nobody has to do anything for.
Yes.
Which is the first thing they do. It's like they're in a drama class. Anyway, that's too far ahead, Dave. I'm sure you have an observation you want to make.
So Infinity Beyond, we're meeting the characters. They're all scheming. We get the Ice Princess, which is Sharpay.
Like, who is she supposed to be?
I thought she was going to be the cheerleader type, the popular girl,
like the mean girl.
And again, she's just a theater kid. The villains are the theater kids, and I was like, "What school is this?
Right,
that theater
weird.
is
It was so
weird.
I
assumed she was going to be like, I'm the important popular girl who doesn't have time for things like theater. No, she's like the lead actress in the theater.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, this actually indicates like one of the big problems with it. I'm going to guess is going to stay true in the whole series, which is they don't know how to do the tropes they need you to understand.
Yeah.
Like they don't know how to do like the the nerds, the jocks, the they don't know how to do that stuff.
It's like a slow burn where you like halfway through meeting characters, you're like, wait, are they the nerds?
Yeah, is that what this is?
Because everybody looks like the popular kid. Everybody is preppy looking and beautiful.
Right.
And they don't nerd up anybody. So it's like impossible to tell. The only distinction was like there was a couple kids that looked like stoners, maybe.
That was the only group of people that was dressed correctly or close to correctly. The rest of them were dressed. Nobody looked like a high schooler. Kids. They all looked like young professionals trying to make their way in like a glamorous LA or something. Or like
Sharpay's brother. When we first see him, he looks like a caddy. He's dressed in all white with a white sweater, zip-up sweater, and a white cap. And I was like, do kids dress like this?
I wanted to document meticulously every hat he wore. Like his hats were like a whole thing. And I was like, nobody's going to care as much as I do, so I'm not going to do that. That kid probably spent 10 grand on hats.
Yeah.
Like he's hat rich for sure. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Yes, he's from a hat empire.
Yeah. He's flashing bling, hat bling every day.
Yeah.
There was a very funny and subtle guitar sting when we met the popular girl.
Oh,
like it was the first one that was like, oh yeah, musicals, that's right. And I was like, I just love it when a guitar sting's supposed to be like, here we go.
Oh yeah,
for this.
Well, she is the villain. She's like again, like the Joker. She is the cause of most of the problems that we're gonna get.
I would argue she only does one thing in this movie. She does like they make one choice in the whole movie. She
mostly schemes. You're right.
She mostly complains. Which is fine. That seems true to high school to me, but she only makes one choice. So like
we'll get to it because it's the main conflict, the third act conflict is the wildest, lowest stakes conflict I've ever seen. So everybody's scheming. It cuts to like other people like in the corner also scheming, watching her.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like, I don't know who any of these fucking kids are.
Yeah.
They go to class. Is there anything before class you want to know?
I don't remember. Because I was so confused by like that drama teacher threw me for a loop. Like it took me a good 10 minutes to recover. So
this
please.
Class sequence.
Yeah.
So this is when I realized we're maybe in hell or a nightmare. It starts with they have the thing where all the peas and carrots, all the class,
everybody's in this class. Yeah.
They're all chattering and the bell rings.
Yeah.
Did you catch the conversation that Zac Efron is having with the other jock kid?
I mean, I do, but like
I wrote down two things.
Oh, good, thank you. I'm so glad.
It was just the jock kid says to him, "Do you remember the night before?" And Zac Efron replies, "All I remember is pink jelly." And then the bell rings, and I was like, "Wait, what?
What does that mean?
What happened the night before that all you remember is pink jelly?" Maybe I misheard it, but
that's the movie we wanted right there.
Yeah,
the night before.
And so then we get the bell rings. Class starts.
Yes.
The teacher comes in.
Yes.
She screams about cell phones.
Yeah.
And she thinks a basketball is a hockey puck.
Dude,
she says this is a place of learning, not a hockey arena, to a kid with a basketball.
And it was like, is this a joke? I was like, not only is that not a clear joke, it's not clear that it is a joke. So like she just doesn't know how high school sports are or anything.
She later, I wrote this down because it's a hell of a line. She describes sports later as young men in baggy shorts flinging balls. And I was like, could we not have done a different second draft of that?
Yeah. Or that's exactly the line you wanted, Dave. I mean, I feel like that was true. For you. Yeah. The drama teacher is impossible.
I like her because she hates the students, and I also hate the students.
Sure.
But yeah, she's a nightmare.
I go back in time and think like, okay, what's my favorite of the antagonistic teachers in a comedy? Because there's a million of them, right?
Yeah.
And I really think the best one still to this very day is the teacher in Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Spicoli, that guy.
Right.
Because that guy feels like a real guy. Yeah. But even the Breakfast Club one, that guy's a real prick.
It's where it like borders on darkness, right? Where you know, like they don't they can't accept that they're wrong.
Yes.
And they just want to win.
Yes.
And it escalates to a point where they're just being mean and punitive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a movie, so it's got to be a little heightened. This teacher was unhinged from reality in every sense. I never understood her emotions or why she chose anything.
I think the actress did a great job because she's just taking the wildest swings.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, this is, because again, they treat theater, and maybe this is true in some modern schools, because I'm sure theater has, I went to a performance arts school, but I had to seek that out. But maybe in some schools, theater is a big deal, right? But they treat it like it's the sport of the school,
right? Like it's football. Like drama is like football in this school. You are the only person I know that could comment on whether this was possible. I don't know anybody that went to a strictly performance arts school.
My school did. It was like a bizarro school where the plays were the big games. Like we put on like a production every season, sometimes multiple productions, because that's what we did. And we had this stage that we'd break the stage. We'd do all sorts. We'd redecorate the entire area. We went all out. It was like where all the budget went. And the main theater actors, the ones who are the stars or are often the stars, were like the popular kids, because it was like, these are the kids, these are the kids driving it.
Like, so, I have a hard time believing that jocks and theater nerds are a mutually exclusive group.
Well, I was going to say, it wasn't the same energy. Like, it wasn't like, they're bullying people. Like, it was very positive. And it wasn't like, it's a completely different beast than like a stereotypical high school,
Right. So like, let's assume this is a stereotypical high school, like just for the sake of trying to understand what the movie's saying. Like, I don't think that theater and like, I object to the fundamental premise of this movie, which is like, theater and sports, they can't, those are the Capulets and Montagues.
No, it's sports, and then theater, if there's money, is usually what it is, right? Like, it's let's all pitch in to help the theater. And the idea that they're like, when they're building sets in this, it's like, wow, they have great sets. And it's just like, again, maybe in certain areas, like I bet you in LA, there's maybe acting is a bigger deal in high schools. You know what I mean?
I'm sure that's true. I mean,
but I just
don't see them in
Albuquerque.
No, in New Mexico. Get out of here. Like, I just don't see them being in conflict is really my thing.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of needed to tell us that.
Well, the thing about this school is that it needs to be investigated. The teachers, the principal, they seem to just let the students call the shots for a lot of this. Like, it's there's no authority really, except for people in a room screaming at them at any given time. But it's just like, again, we'll get into it, but like the crux of the drama of this movie is scheduling conflicts. And it's like, and a high school is a learning place. It's not where you pit your students against each other. So that's one of those things where like they would immediately clear that up. The school would be like, no, we'll do this and that and that. Like there's no need to make everybody compete.
The drama teacher's level of being punitive is contrary to any drama teacher I've ever seen.
She makes them do detention in the middle of the school day, it seems like, later. She just takes them and then someone's like, hey, they're supposed to be doing like basketball right now. And it's like, what are you doing, lady? They're kidnapping the kids out of class.
Right. So like, and she's like forcing them to work on the sets and stuff. Yeah. And that's where we get this concept of free period, which is a very important concept in the movie. Like, there's a period where people can just kind of do whatever they want in the middle of the school day that's not lunch.
As someone who went to a performance arts school, that is something that I experienced.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow. So there's like an hour where you're just like, okay, and now do whatever the fuck you want?
Yes and no. Like, so we didn't have a lunchroom. So our lunch, we had a school store, and our lunch was basically the place. And the older kids could like walk down the street and go to the store.
Yeah.
It was sort of a honor system. like if you were caught like smoking cigarettes or something, they'd be like, okay, well, we're going to have to deal with this. But it was generally an honor system, and like it was pretty loose because they're all hippies. And then our class, we actually had longer school days than most high schools, because then we had the academic stuff, but we had to fit in the art. So like there was an extra like 2 hours at the end where you'd have a long class devoted to like directing or film critique or photography.
That sounds amazing.
Like, yeah, and those classes were kind of dictated by the teacher. Like photography, the teacher would be like, here's your cameras, go out, take pictures. And we just like go around, take pictures, or like some of us would be like, I have to go work in the dark room. They'd be like, okay, go do that. And everybody kind of policed themselves. It was part of the orientation of the school was like, listen, we're not going to police you that much. We don't feel like that helps creativity. So you're going to have to fucking police yourselves, and it has to work out, because otherwise the school stops existing. It was basically, and the school's still standing.
That's amazing. So, yeah. My high school was a literal fortress. It was on a hill. It had like that Russian concrete aesthetic that only a high school after the 80s that was constructed after the 80s could have. Yeah. And they didn't let you go anywhere.
Yeah.
Everything was very regimented.
That was like, my middle school, and that's why I left.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you had that freedom of choice, Dave. Yeah. This free period concept is important to understanding how these students are getting anything done.
Yes. Also, this type of high school doesn't seem to be that type of high school.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
But I still want to talk about this. I'm still in the class scene because there's a very important detail. Yeah. So she goes around. She says like no phones. Takes all their phones. Seems to think of basketball as a hockey. The bell is just rung. She takes their phones. She says that stuff. And then the bell rings again, and they all leave.
It's a 5-minute class.
It's a 30-second class.
I wrote that down. I was like, we watched this in real time. This was a huge mistake. Like, how did they do this?
This is, I can't stress enough, hell. They're in hell. Nothing makes sense in this school. It's the Overlook. Everything is a maze, and time is meaningless. I challenge people. It's on Disney Plus. Go watch this movie, High School Musical. We never even said what the musical is called. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Go watch it. Find this scene. She goes around. She yells at cell phone. The bell rings. She gives cell phones. Collects cell phones. Yep. Talks about how sports are bad, and the bell rings again within maybe a few minutes.
Let me explain something to everybody. Here's how you fix this in a real movie.
You
cut to outside of the class and have the bell ring, and we know that time has passed.
Yeah.
Okay, like it's like a simple solution, and they didn't do it. So this place is impossible.
This is an impossible place.
I wrote it down. I found that delightful. That's also where I wrote down. I got to tell you, Dave. I'm
10 minutes in.
I got to tell you, Dave. I'm philosophically opposed to bassoons. I've come all the way around to like I don't want a bassoon in a movie. You know why?
That's fair.
Yeah, because a bassoon always tells me exactly what to think. You know what I mean?
You're right.
I didn't like it. This movie had some bassoons
don't like an instrument telling you what to think.
I was like, no, man, you've been outlawed as an instrument now because
like when a character walks in and a bassoon cues up, you're like, oh, this person sucks.
Yep. Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly. This movie reminded me, like, you know what? Bassoons are outlawed for a while. They need to chill out and figure things out. Yeah.
Oh, so we have the sign-up sheets, which the Sharpay is lurking behind.
She's lurking behind. She's holding a red Sharpie at all times on her person. Yep. She's always got one. When she signs up for the audition on this thing, she signs just her name on the whole page, and it's like, you just need one line, man. Just write one line.
She sucks. They're showing she sucks.
Yeah. She does suck. Why does she carry a Sharpie around all the time? Why does she?
Because her name's Sharpay.
I know. I really think that's what the director thought. Yeah. I really do. Like, I know you're thinking that.
They read it and they didn't know the dog breed. And they're like, I guess we should have to give her a Sharpie all the time.
Exactly.
That's her thing.
Is this a key thing they're trying to teach us about her character? That was very unclear.
I guess. We get more fucking jabbering from these fucking kids.
Yeah.
I wrote that he said what he did during his break was basketball, snowboarding, and more basketball. And I'm like, this character is just so fucking white.
Yeah.
So boring.
Yeah, boring.
Ladies love him. His friend compares musicals to hip hop or rock and says they don't contribute to society, which I'm like, that's fair.
I mean, okay, but like, yeah, sure, all right.
But then they start singing, and I'm like, does he know? Does he know he's in a musical?
Right, there's that right, there's that problem. But there's also the problem of like, so like he very publicly sang karaoke at this like, you know, this Republican fundraiser New Year's event that he went to, right? like he did that very publicly. Somebody put that on the internet. They had an internet back then. Like this whole movie's premise is it's nothing.
They live stream later.
Yeah. Right. So it's like this is nothing. The news about him singing is already out. That would have gotten out.
Apparently not.
Okay, yeah. Well, all right.
Apparently everybody needs to know their role and stay in their role is where the starting place is with this.
So that's why the song Status Quo is the first thing that should have happened at this high school, by the way.
You're right.
Like that song was pretty good.
Well, there's a lot of moments like this where it's like conflict resolved in minutes.
Yes.
So they don't know where to put the start of the conflict.
Yes.
And you're right. This should have been because that should have been the first thing, and they should have dressed appropriately.
Obviously.
And then they're showing, okay, these are all the cliques.
Right, so I know what they are. Exactly. Like they all dress
the scene where
away.
You're learning what their cliques are.
Yes.
Where one person's like, I'm a geek, but I like hip hop, and I'm like, you look like you could be either. Like you don't look like anything. You just look like they're all dressed like fucking adults.
You look like somebody's idea of a serious of a Gap commercial or something.
Yeah.
Like this movie came out like I don't know, like 2 years after Mean Girls.
2006-ish,
yeah. So like this was 2007, I want to say, and Mean Girls like 2005 or something like that. So like Mean Girls is like pretty firmly in the zeitgeist,
right,
at this point. And
or just
I get
high school people dress
high school
ways in high
pretty
school.
Firmly in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I understand that Disney doesn't want any controversy at all. Like they don't want any controversy.
No.
So, but I feel like because they took away the indicators of controversy, they actually ended up making a film about something they weren't trying to make a film about.
Yes. The messages of this film is very weird and confusing. And like,
I think the clearest message is that this is a metaphor about coming out. I really do.
I think that is the clearest message.
I really believe that. And
100%.
Part of it is because they annihilated all the rest of the high school culture to create this musical vibe.
It's about that, and it seems to be about work ethic. Because the moral is you can do two things at once. And I'm like, so it's a larger conversation, but I actually think what he does in this is not a good thing.
Oh.
What I mean is that he's the star of the basketball team. They have the big game. And that's a big commitment. And then he's like, I'm also going to become the star of the musical. That's also a big commitment. And I'm like, yeah, you're young, I guess, but that's not actually that positive of a thing to tell people. And I'm not.
That's like, interesting. Oh yeah.
Telling people you can do whatever you want is totally positive. Don't get me wrong. And like, if you're a jock, quote unquote jock, and you're interested in musicals, then go for it. Right. But the core idea of like, take all these giant commitments at once is not a good, that's like hustle culture shit. Where it's like,
be
we should be teaching people the opposite.
Right.
Yeah, where
it's like, okay to let someone else be the star.
Right. And it's okay not to try to juggle everything at once. Like that is not
a good
cool.
Point. That's a really good point, actually.
It is.
They don't do a good enough job explaining when this play would happen. This musical would happen.
That's what. So the finale isn't the play. I assumed it'd be the play.
Right. We didn't even see it.
It's an audition.
Yeah, an audition that a callback that it seems like took 4 months to happen. By the way, like either this thing took place in like 2 days, like this whole movie, or as you said, we're in a time loop. Yeah, there's no time.
It's hell.
Before you get into the song about the
basketball.
Yeah. I need to point out the jerseys in that first scene.
Thank you. They're the Wildcats, which is the most generic fucking name.
Fine. Fine. I can live with that, right? Everything about this is very like a movie set version of reality, where it's like there's nothing behind it other than, the facade. The jerseys that they're wearing during this warm-up when they sing the first time are not correct. Like you look at them and you're like, wait a minute. That's not what a high school basketball jersey looks like. We're really coming down on
the costume designer of this, but yeah.
But it was like, it was a decision that was like, well, they chose this. That's not how they look. What's happening here? You know what I mean?
What's wrong with them?
Dude, they're not the jerseys. They're like half cut off, like
they're like weird little
They're not basketball jerseys. I was like, what are they wearing? What is that? And then they went into a musical number, and that's when it was very clear. All these ball players are clearly dancers.
Yes.
And that's fine, but they're not basketball players. They're dancers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody here is a dancer.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, again, it's part of why, like, this feels very musical to me, which is that, like, when you watch a musical and someone's like a group of people come in, they're like, we're like the tough guys. And it's like, no, you're dancers. And then the other people are like, we're the cops. And it's like, no, you're dancers.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're all dancers.
They're all hot cops.
I've known a lot of dancers. Yeah. And so like, it's that vibe where it's like, we're the jocks, we're the nerds. And it's like, you're all dressed the same and you're all dressed kind of like dancers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
they all had the vibe of being dancers. It was very much like, you're not fooling anybody. Like this basketball game would be not fun to watch is the point.
Yeah.
Okay. So the song is Get Your Head in the Game. And I can't insist strong. I wrote this down before I had seen this movie that it was like, I feel like they're not saying game. Like they're like it feels like a mistake. They're not saying it. I wrote that down.
Or intentional.
I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just like, but it really adds to the problem I have with this movie of like, what are we actually saying here? Like I'm not a problem in the sense that that it's not okay to make a movie about that. Just problem like, do they know they're saying that? Are you looking it up? I hope you are.
I was looking up to see if anybody else had this theory, and I see there's like a YouTube. There's a couple things about. There's a subreddit about the gay subtext of High School Musical, so I'm glad it's because like watching it or you pointing that out, it didn't even occur to me, and now it's like, of course, why didn't I think of that? That
I just thought it was such a loud. Obvious. It was so loud. As it is choice again because they eradicated all the pieces of high school that were recognizably other cultures.
Right.
Other than this like problem of I really wish I could be a singer and a dancer. And then the relationship that was at the core of I wish I could be a singer and a dancer
is a romance.
Not really. So then it was like, well, now what are we doing? Right. Yeah. And that's where we landed, I think.
Yeah. This song is the song where they mostly say keep your head in the game or in the game, apparently.
Yeah.
Over and over. Just variations of that. Like game or something like that, where they just repeat one of the words a few times, and I was like, "Could you try? You're making a musical." We get Gabrielle, which is that she's wicked smart. She corrects the teacher on math.
Yes, the pregnant, mysterious teacher who never shows up again.
Yeah, I assume
I don't know what to make of that
because I was like,
"Yeah, sure."
What a loud choice,
right? I mean, it's fine. That's not an issue. It was just like, it felt like a big choice. And I was like, is it going to be a thing later that she has to have a kid? So that's going to be a dilemma for them.
Yeah. It'd be a lot of fucking stuff. No,
none of it's going to happen.
Sharpay schemes with her lover brother to get dirt on the new girl. Right. She starts like, she makes she makes the decision to destroy the new girl here.
And it's based on, they sort of all start thinking like, wait a minute, are you a smart? You know what I mean? Like they have this like suspicion, like, wait a minute. And I kept thinking to myself, what's the problem here if she's smart? What is the dilemma there for a theater kid?
Right. Yes, exactly. Where they're like, theater kids can't be smart. And it's like,
no,
sure they can.
Yeah. Man. Often they are like,
they treat like the smart kids as like an elite group. And it's like, I don't remember high school really being like that. I remember it being like there were cliques, And then the cliques had smart people and not smart people, or like different levels or types of intelligence, or like,
there was definitely friend groups that were like, we're the smart ones, you're not as smart as us. That was a thing.
Right.
But like but theater would have been a place where lots of those groups would have intersected.
Well, they act like there's like the triathlon math thing later, where they act like being smart is a club that warrants different activities that were school related.
Correct.
Like it feels like the school did this. Like it feels like when the school was made, they were like, okay, first things first, we got to split you all up.
Right.
And we change your classes based on who you are, it's like a segregated school based on like, what are you into? Are you into theater? Okay. All your stuff is theater. No math classes, no science classes. It's like, wouldn't you be doing both? Like when they schedule everything at the same time, they're like, too fucking bad. You have to do the
it's such a simple problem. Like there's one admin whose job is to look at school events and make sure they don't conflict.
Yeah.
That takes them 5 minutes a week.
Yeah. It's an office.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way that would happen. I completely agree. I want to talk at some length about the decathlon because I need to get to the bottom of what's happening there. You know what I mean? But like that's 2 hours from now, Dave. So I don't want to waste our time.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We're still at
where are we?
We're not wanting to commit to things in math class.
Oh, well, another thing I observed about the basketball song is they didn't have a coach. Where was the coach for that?
You're right.
Where is he? What's he
Coach
doing?
Father.
Yeah, where's Coach Father? He's not. What's he doing during the day? They never show him like teaching shop.
He's at his job at fucking Halliburton or whatever.
Exactly.
Like
Yes, that's right. Yes.
They show him in an office at one point. So I guess he has a coach's office.
I think
doing coach paperwork. They have detention. This is where she just pulls them and makes them do stagecraft.
Yeah.
Talks about flinging balls.
Yep. Yep. This is when I started to get really confused about who Sharpay was.
Yeah, because this is when you learn
she's a drama diva. I don't understand why she's allowed to bully the school then.
Yeah.
Like if she's not the prom queen or whatever, how does she hold these people in her sway?
Yeah, why is everybody like, oh, there she is? And it's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? We get fuck. Okay, we have the theater.
At some point, the director of the theater gets in a fight with the coach, who we finally do meet.
Yes, this is when he's like, you pulled them out of their practice.
Yeah, because they missed the practice to be at the detention to make the sets, and the coach shows up and he's like, "What is this nonsense? Go back to class or go to practice." And then they have an argument in front of the principal, they being the drama teacher and the coach, where they're like, you're not gonna this. We all have to work together, right? And at some point, she's like, "I'm gonna be putting on my musicale." She starts saying musicale.
Yes.
And nobody says a word to her about it. And that was the least believable thing that ever happened in a movie to me.
That's like when they want to show someone's pretentious, you have them say something like that. And it's like, where the fuck? Like, you're just saying a word wrong. Like, you're just like, right. It makes sense if she was like pronouncing something pretentiously that no one pronounces right. But that's not what's happening.
Right. It was like a disturbing moment on an educational level. Like, why isn't the principal like, listen, Mrs. Nazi, you got to get the word right. It's musical.
The vibe of this is that it feels like at the end, cops are going to come and handcuff her, and we'll learn that she was never a teacher.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, she could have been in Rock and Roll High School, Dave.
She could have
absolutely been in that movie.
She would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah, she would have been very good at it. Yeah.
We get the girl explaining how to speak cheerleader to the new girl. That scene I had blacked out
Yeah. That was when I was like, oh, so the smart people are real assholes in this movie? Is that what we learned? Because she was extraordinarily condescending. And the cheerleader's like, what are they hurting? Like they're not doing anything,
And the thing is that like when she does that, she's like, here's how you speak cheerleader. Maybe I'm old, but I didn't know how that was any different than how they were speaking. And I'm like, it seems like you're fluent in cheerleader already. They speak like teenagers.
Yeah, they don't they were so unwilling to be unkind. Like this is unwilling to be any other than PG-13. And so because of that, they're never willing to like hit real hard on stereotypes in a way that might be mean. So everything's unclear, because high school needs a dash of cruelty, or you don't have high school.
Yeah. But it's Disney cruelty. Yeah.
So we don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what exactly this observation is tied to, but it stands for the whole movie. So I guess I'm going to make it now.
Yeah, do it.
This school has an eyesight epidemic, as in like everyone in it has like Metal Gear Solid NPC eyesight. They can't see shit they need to be able to see. And I think this is a reference to Zac Efron sneaking out in full public view and like ditching his like basketball colleague in a way that's like Pink Panther-ish.
Is that the scene? Where he goes through. I think that's later because of the garage I wrote down, but I know the sequence you're talking about. There's a famous
audition.
GIF. There's a famous GIF of this movie.
Okay, great.
And it's probably the scene you're thinking of.
Where he like
also
shows up behind him. Is it that? Is that the GIF?
It's the bathroom scene with Sharpay.
Oh yeah, where it's like she's standing in plain sight.
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't see her?
Where she searches the bathroom and then she leaves and she peeks around the corner that she would have had in plain sight. Yeah, nobody can see. Everybody has horse blinders on.
It is some Metal Gear Solid horse shit. It is like she is Solid Snake out there getting away with like ballooning people into freedom.
This scene, I think the scene you're talking about, which there's a few like haunting moments where I felt like everything was a little off.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't get the geography. It looked like he snuck into a classroom.
Yes.
And then his friend follows him.
Yes. He disappears.
And then his friend sneaks, and what I mean by sneaks is he stands in the doorway.
Yes, correct.
And then another kid like forces a handshake on him.
Yeah, here you go, bro. And then walks in. Yeah.
And it's a really weird, awkward handshake.
Yeah. It's like dancers trying to play football is what it's. But continue. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And he walks in and then he looks and Zac Efron is elsewhere. And I was like, how did he leave that room?
Yeah. Where's the other door in it?
Something. Yeah.
Zac Efron
established another door. Yeah.
Zac Efron appears behind him like he's Ferris fucking Bueller. And it's
he does appear behind him. Were they trying to do like a Bugs Bunny gag there or something?
Yeah, I think they thought it was very funny, but it was actually like, oh, so he got out. Oh, okay.
It was all really awkward.
Yeah.
There was some like
yeah.
There's a lot of awkward movements in this where everything feels a little sinister. I'm skipping way ahead, but there's a scene at the end that I found unforgettable where it was the composer girl. Once they give her that she's all that.
Yeah.
They give her the winning basketball.
Yep.
And she's holding it and she's having what appears to be a panic attack holding the basketball.
She's very nervous about it. Yes.
And then another kid just like lurches in behind her like he's Nosferatu
and like helps
he comes
her?
up from like and like takes and like slithers and grabs the ball and helps her. And I was like, oh God, where did that kid come from? He looked like he came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah,
There's a lot of like weird creepy movements like that.
He was very Terminator Liquid Metal Rope. He was T-1000-ish. You know what I mean? Like he sort of appeared from the crowd. That's the point of the movie where they decided we need to couple off all these children. We need. They all got to couple
everybody
off.
Couples off.
Let's couple off all
like
the children.
People who don't. It felt vaguely racist that the two dark skinned kids don't seem to have known each other were
a little
just like,
bit.
hey, and I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
they don't know each other that well.
Yeah, they had one interaction before. It wasn't well planned. This seems like the only relationship that the movie was like very invested in, like clarifying and making sure we get it, is the kid that bakes and Sharpay. That relationship, they were like, this is happening.
He's
Look
into
forward
her.
To it.
She's like less into it. Yeah.
Well, and then she comes around in the after the credits scene,
There's an after credit scene?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. There was like they do credits for a while and then they cut to a scene and it's Sharpay running through the balloons being like, I want another one. And like just like being in love with this guy now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, bro. Like they went all the way.
Them.
Yeah. It looked good for them. I can't wait to see how that transgressed and transpired in the sequel.
All right. Really, but we're only like 30 minutes in. So we're
okay.
The mansion. This is where he has a mansion with his own basketball court.
My God.
And he's playing with his dad.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
yeah.
His dad's talking about the drone he designed that day. And
the one that he tested on his mother, and that's why she died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They have a private basketball. It is a mansion.
Yeah.
Like, when we say that like, like when you watch Full House and you're like, that house is a mansion.
Yeah.
I don't mean that. I mean this is a mansion.
Yeah, this place would be $30 million now, maybe.
Yes.
Like a lot of money.
Even by the standards that in TV everybody lives in a nice place, this is a mansion where I thought it was like a plot point where I'm like, I guess he's also a really rich kid.
He has to be. It's not it's not like a mansion in the way that like Father of the Bride, that house is kind of like really nice.
Right.
But sort of like picturesque, like you feel like it's a family home.
Yeah, no.
This is a mansion. It looks like a mansion. It has there's nothing like subdued about it at all.
If you've seen like Thoroughbreds, it looks like the house from that.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's sinister mansion.
It's ostentatious is what it is.
Yes. It's like fucking Cruel Intentions mansion,
Yes, it is. Yes.
And so like it's wild that like it feels like since it's Disney Channel, they just like shot it at the producer's house, but the producer is a Disney producer. So it's not like it saves money, but it's also like, let's shoot at my mansion.
It's an easier day for me.
Yeah, like I thought at first it was an extension of the high school because they're playing in a private court. And I was like, wait, that's his fucking house.
Yeah.
Later we see Gabrielle and we see she has like a fucking mansion as well. Little smaller, but still like gigantic fucking house.
But we do know that her mom travels for work. So like that was at least not inherently logically contradicting.
Yeah.
Whereas like a high school basketball coach living in that place is not possible without having inherited it or something. You know what I mean? Like if his last name's like Rockefeller or something, it's like, okay, well, now I get it.
He must be just old money.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And he chose to do this.
Yeah.
But we learn his background. He was also a high school basketball star. Are we to believe maybe he became a professional basketball player? That's the most sense I can make. Or again, his wife is just rich.
Yeah, his off-screen wife could be rich, or they murdered her for the insurance payout. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think insurance is enough. I don't think you can insure someone enough for that like mansion.
$2 million? Yeah, that's not enough for that.
It's not enough for that mansion.
Yeah, it's fishy. That mansion is fishy.
It's
a fishy mansion.
I would investigate this. Yeah. This was before the sneaking around, but the sneaking around is where he goes to the garage that seems to be like, this is again Overlook Hotel. He's sneaking his friend. He goes, we do the door thing. So teleports. Then I'm pretty sure he goes upstairs and then he's in a garage, I think. And so that's where I was like, this is Overlook Hotel shit.
Yeah, I don't know where anybody, I couldn't lay out the geography of any of this. It would be very strange for them to have built a theater on the second floor of this place.
Right. Because then he sneaks to the theater.
Right.
And it was like, I don't know where anything is in this fucking high school.
That's right. Which normally I don't care about, but it is a bit of an issue a few times in this movie.
Geography matters in this school.
Or
in this story. Yeah.
I agree. Also, Zac Efron decides I need the janitor's cart to sneak in to see the auditions, because I think he just wants to see the music, right? Like it's not for her.
Right.
He's not there to flirt with this.
No, he's not into her yet. I think he's thinking about her. But again, he's the popular kid. He can get anything he wants. He's just like, man, I'll string her along maybe later. But he's into the musical aspect.
Yeah, he wants to, like, he's just like, what would it be like if it was me, Zac Efron, singing?
Here's how you make a movie.
Thank you.
Keep him being the rich, popular kid. That's great.
So far, so good. Yeah.
Make it the main character be the less popular, maybe even poor theater kid girl or guy. Just make it a fucking you don't even have to make it a fucking metaphor. Just make it a gay story. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
But the composer or whoever, that's what you actually do. Right. And so it's like, I'm the popular kid. I'm here to audition. I feel like that's been done. Like, I feel like 10 Things I Hate About You has some element of that or something.
Probably.
But that's what you do normally. His friends sabotage him, and then one scene later go, "We're sorry.
Yeah,
we let's fix it.
Let's fix it, man.
Yeah, that conflict is introduced and fixed in 5 minutes.
Pretty much.
So he's disguised as a janitor, like a fucking Marx Brothers character.
Yeah. This is right. This is some Bugs Bunny shit, and it doesn't need to be. I was deeply offended by the amount of talent that the people who were not good at auditioning had.
Yes, the bad auditions.
The bad auditions. The opera singer was legitimately amazing.
Right, and they're all like, ew.
Yeah,
and
it was like
interesting.
It was like, well, you can't be that good at singing and be bad at this. Like, like we didn't do it, Disney. The ballet guy, there's like a ballet dancer
so we're getting the audition,
joyfully.
And then he just crashes off stage. I think he's on ecstasy.
It's like, what happened? Did somebody kill him back there? Like, what happened?
Yeah. What was it? That was his audition, huh? Yeah. The kid in the corduroy jacket and cargo pants. Yeah. I was like, I guess he's dressed up. Is that the idea? And yeah, it's high school. It's high school auditions. If it's not specifically a performance arts school, it's like, yeah, these kids are fine.
At least two of them were like amazingly talented, and it was a mistake to.
And they're trying to like hide it.
Well, they're trying to make him sing off key, but she's nailing a vibrato soprano high note. Like she's nailing that note. It's like,
and they all like are like, oh,
yeah, okay, weird choice, you know. And it's like,
make a new musical around her.
Yeah, she's clearly very good. Let's see that.
The interpretive dancing kids.
Yeah, what's wrong with them? Yeah. What was the joke there?
Yeah, she acts like so offended.
Yeah, and I was like, what was wrong? I mean, okay, you didn't like it, but
the art teacher, again, she's a maniac because she seems to every now and then she'll be like, that's theater, baby, and she'll like something. Yeah. But then other things, she's like, that's not theater. And it's like, that's clearly fucking theater. Yeah, like I've met so many art teachers, they're just like anything, you know, they'll take anything. They're an art teacher at a high school. They're like, anything that's creative.
Right. It's like they're acting like this is, you know, the starring part in your first feature or something. And it's like,
exactly.
No. In high school, you're grateful for people who can stand and look in the right direction and say coherent words.
Yes. You're just taking what you can get.
Like you want a kid who's going to be the, you know, the tree in the scene,
she's
you know,
turning people away. Yeah. She's just like, next.
Also, what is this movie or what is this play that only needs 2 actors in it?
That's a great question.
What is it? Like
it has a giant moon and a city backdrop.
Yeah.
And a tree.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, every high school play I've ever seen had a minimum of 25 parts.
I think it takes place at like a park, just judging by the set pieces.
I can't tell.
It's like a Woody Allen play.
Yeah,
like a slice of life.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like an early version
Manhattan
of Match Point.
In the park. Yeah.
You know, like it's a betrayal.
Match Point.
Fair. It's like a sort of high schooled up version of Crime and Punishment, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing if it was Glenn Ross. That was the reveal. I was curious because the sets are nice, but they're not that nice to be honest.
They're fine. Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah. But that's the thing is she seems like she's burning her bridges, this teacher. Like it really feels like she doesn't need them. They need her.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna like boost their career. And it's like, again, like these kids just want to play Call of Duty. Like you are so lucky that you're getting this much interest in the theater.
Like I get that you basically held them captive because of detention to make them audition.
Yeah.
But like then you're saying no. And it's like
right.
You're working at cross purposes here, lady. You got your, you know, army of captive actors.
Right.
Let them act. You know,
this is a learning experience.
Yeah.
She doesn't get anything out of this.
No.
And I know there are teachers who get like, you know, famous with sports as well, who get caught up in it. But it's like, come the fuck on. And this is where they jump in. They're like, I'll audition last minute. And she's like, timing is everything. Like she's right. And she does this a few times where it's like, you're working with theater kids. You're gonna have to be flexible about timing.
Yeah. Come on.
Again, she's acting like she doesn't need them.
Yeah, and I argue the problem there is clarity, right? Like she's not McGonagall from Hogwarts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like who's mean in a way that is clear. I get who she is and why. And I get that she's not going to let little shit go. That's not who she is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't mess with her or even Snape, who's vindictive. He's a vindictive person, but he's vindictive in a way that is personal and spiteful, and
they're making her like stern football coach, which is like, I need an army, you know,
right?
I need a commitment, and it's like that's a stereotype with football, but it's not a stereotype with theater,
right?
Especially not like high school theater. I get the idea of the prissy director on Broadway,
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the trope they really care about, I think.
And that's what they're trying to do here. But it's like, it just doesn't work for a fucking high school. It just doesn't.
It would have worked if they'd had a football coach teaching the drama.
That
would have been interesting. Yes.
Yeah, and he like brings that energy in, and he's like, "We're gonna have more discipline."
I would have dug that. That would have made a lot of sense.
But the whole thing is separate. Everybody's separate,
right?
So they can't do that.
Right, so they can't do that. It's Capulets and Montagues, baby. There's no reconciliation here.
There's literally a balcony scene. Yeah, we'll get to.
Oh yeah,
terrifying balcony scene.
Yeah. She does manage to get the first sports bullying joke that was actually a joke out, which is, "Are you going to be here with your sports posse?"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Oh okay, so you're an internet troll. I got it."
Yeah. And he's like, "Team? You mean team? Yeah."
Yeah, I don't know why the drama teacher needs to belittle the kids, but sure.
We also get Sharpay and I wrote down the name of
Ryan.
Ryan, yeah, her fuck brother.
Yeah.
They include stagecraft. Every now and then an audition suddenly includes stagecraft.
Yeah.
And there's no indication of when, but it feels unfair. But yeah, they're great. That's the thing you learn about them is they're good.
They're good at
they're
this.
Just they're what we learn is that, and I don't mind this idea, is that the composer, who's supposed to be essentially the director, who's the person who's dictating what is apparently this is an original musical.
Yeah. Impressive. This kid is Amadeus, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, this kid is a genius.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She is going to go on to have a huge career.
Right.
This character.
Right.
Because even the school I went to, we didn't do that shit.
No.
No. But we learned that, and what's happening is that Sharpay and Ryan will basically take her music or take her songs and change the tone, I guess. Like
the tempo. It was literally they made it too fast and a different vibe.
Right.
Right.
Which is wild for an audition because it's like, how did they get the music? Wouldn't they be working with her? Like, it's weird that they wouldn't get that assignment, that their whole thing is because it's like, if you're making a play, like they're treated the thing is they're treated by the theater teacher as like, they're the stars. They're great. They're there every year. Yeah. But it's like when you learn that, you're like, how are they different than the kids doing interpretive dance? Like, isn't
Other
that
than they're just good at this? Like they're better singers clearly, but the interpretive dance kids, let them have a number. If
we're playing it fast and loose,
yeah,
we're just doing whatever we want with
let your child prodigy write something for them. Why not? Also, she's working for like a smile. She's working for a kind glance. So have her write a song. Why not?
Fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we learned that they are talented, and it's like, okay,
yeah, sure.
They deserve to be here, to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just not nice.
Yeah.
They're talented, but not nice. That's that's the issue. Nobody's untalented in this movie.
Yeah.
Nobody's bad at anything in this movie.
No, it's part of the conflict or the lack of conflict.
Right.
Everybody's good at everything and everybody likes each other and everybody's happy.
Right. That's a weird thing about high school movies from this time.
Yeah.
Like Twilight had the same problem, remember?
Everybody's hanging out and having a great time.
Yeah, there was no conflict. Everybody was buddies. It was like, so what are we doing?
Yeah. So they don't audition here. I remember what happens. The composer, the teacher is like, all right, we're done. The composer gets up and she trips on absolutely nothing.
I know. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
What is wrong with her?
She throws everything in the air like she's fucking Chaplin.
There are people having serious issues with their inner ear in this movie. Like this is an epidemic. It's a virus of some kind that's impacting their ability to walk around, man. Like
something's happening.
Bring a counselor, get their ears checked immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they help her up. They learn who she is. I have a question for you here.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm no fooling.
Okay, great.
He says, you're the composer. Oh, that's like a playmaker in basketball.
Right.
Is that a thing?
No,
okay.
Playmaker is like a term for a person who plays well. It's not a position. You know what I mean?
Like they acted like it was.
Right. It was not.
And I was like,
thing.
that sounds like a fake thing.
No.
I was like, do you mean a coach? Because don't coaches choose? Like coaches, they have the clipboard and it's the picture of the basketball court. No. And they say you're going to go here and you're going to go here. that's a playmaker.
They meant
right?
you're
that's
the Jordan. They meant you're the star of the team. You're the focal point of the offense.
But she isn't. She's like the coach. She's literally making. When he says playmaker, I was like, yeah, she's making the play, I guess.
Yeah, right. I think that's what the thought that went into it. Literally,
yeah.
I think you got it. The problem is, even if that was a clear metaphor, the movie never gives a shit about her.
No, they just give her a basketball at the end. Which,
that's it.
Again, they're like, you're the playmaker. Here's the basketball. And she's like, I wasn't the coach. Give this to your father, right? That's who you give that to. You know, like she literally looks at it and she's like, I don't want this. Like, why would I want this? Give her $500. Like that. She'd like that better.
I kind of also suspect that she's in hiding for some reason or the other because
she looks more like an adult than the rest.
She has
a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and she's always wearing clothes that nobody would wear that like feel like disguises. And it's like, oh, you're a genius. You're laying low in high school. You're wearing like out of time, out of fashion clothes that you got from the high school costume department.
She looks like she's living in the high school.
Yes, absolutely.
And her clothing is the costume
department.
That's
what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, she's dressed like a Pinkerton in the last half of this movie. And it's like, what's going on here? And like, that's another, there are several people in this movie. It's like, are they who they say they are?
Yes.
I think she's another big candidate. Is she who she said she is?
Yes, I would want to know as well because I'm very suspicious of her.
Yeah.
She plays the song, and for the second time in this movie, they do not need the lyrics. They start singing and they know the song immediately. I know it's musical rules, but it happens twice. There are two scenes where they are motivated by these are the lyrics. Sing together and read the lyrics. And they immediately glance at the lyrics and then they look at each other. And I don't know. It's weird to introduce that element. But again, it's whatever.
Are Disney so like I know this is like I guess this is like a mildly uncomfortable question. I don't know. Are the kids allowed to kiss in a Disney movie? Is that, like
that's not an uncomfortable that's a valid question. It's just like it's like
it's not that I want to see that. It's
it's
an unclear.
It's a valid question. It's just a funny thing to have on like your tombstone.
I imagine that my tombstone is gonna have just all of our podcasts lined up one after the other.
I'm gonna say no. I bet it's a no.
It must be because it's a real clarity problem. I would say for this movie,
if these are teenagers, which a lot of them, like you said, look like, then there's a lot of laws around that, and they're probably just like we're playing it as safe as possible because we're not making an Oscar movie here.
I don't think
we're not,
illegal to have them kiss. I'm
movies
guessing
do it all the time.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's a studio policy, like it's Disney's policy.
Our fucking school, we did some racy shit.
Sure,
we did because we're a performance arts school, so we did like dark like plays. We did like
Leaving Las Vegas or something.
Well, we did like cabaret, and we had Nazis, kids dressed in, like we had full Nazi. We had them beating people scenes. Wow. We had kisses. We had skimpy outfits because again, that's theater, right? Is like to actually. But I imagine for the parents, because I was a teenager too, so I'm like, this is great. I imagine the parents at the time were like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing this.
But that's theater, baby.
Certainly it's theater the second you're of age.
Yes,
I don't know what a high school theater is.
High school, I think we keep it everything. I'm sure they keep it real like conservative, And
I just say that because like if these two were actually interested in each other in high school, there is absolutely nothing stopping them from going and like going out on a date, fooling around, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like they act like there's this invisible barricade between them that if only they could get over it. And it's like, well,
high school generally had way more finger blasting behind the gym. And like, I don't think you're going to get that here. But yes, I agree. There'd be more date stuff, know? It's a Disney movie.
I understand, Dave. I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying that it creates the dilemma.
I know it does. It's sanitized.
What's happening in this story?
Like you think about Dazed and Confused or other actual teen movies, where it's like you have to contend with those ideas because that's an honest look at being a teenager,
right?
And that's why I think they tend to cast more adult actors to do things
you
that
have
you
to
don't want
cast
to
an
make
18-year-old.
teenagers do. Yeah,
you have to. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Just again for clarity, what I'm really saying is because they're so averse to doing any kind of content with any sort of sexual themes or whatever, it creates an artificial conflict between them that isn't a real conflict. And that artificial conflict is, oh, I hope she likes me. I hope we can ever end up together. And it's like, that is so far from being unclear that you guys like each other.
Again, Utah energy. Like it's a little Mormon. It's a little like, no, no one can like, like it feels like their entire lives are in the school and they don't do anything outside of the school because all we see is the school.
In fact,
it's Saved by the Bell. It's like these kids are all squares.
There was a couple of moments where it was like, I feel like nobody has ever met each other before this school term started a few times. Yes. I'm sure it'll come up later because I wrote it down. But yeah, that is also a problem. Like nobody knows anything about anybody here.
Yes.
We really learned that
again.
It's all very
sanitized, and everybody feels like a little on edge, and like no one feels like they really know each other.
Yeah. Well, right. So that brings up basically when we finally define the tension of this movie in a way that's clear.
So we get they sing
this.
They're gonna be. They get a callback, and everybody knows. The whole school knows. And this is where we get the song about secrets.
Yes. Yeah, the song's called Status Quo or Stick to the Status Quo. It should have been the Summer Lovin' of this movie. Like that to me,
you're right.
Summer Lovin' in Grease is to me the song that like defines
it's the song
what that movie's about.
That sets the status
yes.
quo.
Yes.
The first song of a musical should be "This is where we're all at."
Yes, it is.
And
a
they
lovely
don't
town.
have that.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't have that here, and this could have been it. I think they would have, like, it's literally about the status quo.
Right.
So it's very on the nose, but it's like, yeah, you're right. This is the song. The song, so for people who haven't watched it, it's a series of kids. They learn like, oh, the high school jock is doing theater. So it's each kid in a group confessing their secret while their friends, they say, I have a secret. All their friends say, ooh, tell us.
Yeah.
They tell it, and then the friends say, no,
that's
you're fucking bad for that.
Yeah.
And you'd think by the third kid, they'd like a better movie would hand to third kid. Yeah, and the kid would be like, no, I'm not falling.
I'm good. Yeah, I got nothing. Yeah.
Or I wanted a kid to confess to murdering someone.
Yeah, you're right. Of course. You want a good thing out of this. I agree.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters that we learn in this entire sequence is there's a kid who likes baking. Because they really loved that joke. They kept going back to it.
Does he make a creme brulee on the spot in the scene later?
No, because it was unclear. You don't see him blazing anything on. Like you need to burn it.
I think they use a line. They say, I wrote it down. Zeke is baking a creme brulee, or Zeke is baking creme brulee is the full term. And so that implies that he's currently doing it, and he's holding a fork in his hand, and he's holding something else, but you can't see it. So I was like, is the implication that he just like prison whipped out a creme brulee here?
Is this the toilet wine creme brulee?
Yeah,
is that what this is? He's got it in some makeshift container that he's kept in home ec or something.
But that's the idea. Yeah, that's the general. Stick to the stuff you know. Everybody reveals
the theme of the movie. Like the dilemma of the movie clearly encapsulated. It's also the only time we really get anything from the whole high school until the very end of the film.
Right. Yes, you're right.
We should have had that right up top,
Yeah.
After the Republican fundraising party, we should have gone right to Stick to the Status Quo.
Yes, and like here's all our clicks. Yeah. At least then if they're not going to dress that way, they need to tell us.
Well, then
the new girl, and then this works. So what they should have done is the new girl in school, it should have been like, it should have started with everybody, a buzz that there's a new girl. Yeah. New girl shows in. Zac Efron does I met that girl.
Yeah.
The opening scene should have been them meeting each other like in a secluded area on the ski slopes or something. Right. Having a moment, and then him not knowing her name.
Right.
He, like it's wild that he just knows her name. And then it's, oh my God, I know that girl. Everybody else is like, it's the new girl. What are you? Here's all the things.
Here's all the things we are. Yeah.
Because they have her walk through this scene being nervous, like, oh no. And I'm like, she's not new, and like she's already kind of a theater kid, smart kid. Like she's not anything. Is kind of again her whole thing is I'm uncommitted. Yeah. She's like an independent. Most of the movie,
she's a swing voter in this movie. Yeah. That is her thing. That's another reason why, out of all the characters, she's the one that could most easily be a plant.
Yes.
Like for some other nefarious purpose.
Or a literal plant. Yeah. Because it's like very little character spent on her.
Yeah. I thought she had a couple nice moments later in the film that I was like, oh, I kind of believe that.
All I know is that she's like science somewhat. But she and they give her something to do with science later. We'll get to that. They do a light terrorism. And but like
yes, they do.
Yeah. But yeah, she's whatever, man.
Yeah, I was a little bummed for her because I thought that character there was not much to it. There was a lot more to Zac Efron's character.
Yes. It felt like again she should have been the main character. She whips her fucking mac and cheese, her chili. She's eating something gnarly right onto Sharpay, and Sharpay is like, "This girl assaulted me."
Yeah.
And Zac Efron goes to intervene, and his friend is like, "Nah, man,
you don't want any piece of that."
And he just cowards out of the situation and leaves.
Yeah.
I was like, this kid sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not great.
He throws her under the bus multiple times. I feel like he was going to abandon her at karaoke.
Yes, he was.
He just leaves.
Yep. Yeah. The way that the terrorism beat and what we learned about him from that is pretty tough to overcome, I would argue.
There's a lot about the terrorism.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. Okay, well, this leads to the drama teacher pulling a trump at a beauty pageant and sneaking into the boys' locker room to talk to the coach while they're all showering. It's like,
that's
no,
fucking
absolutely
nuts.
Not. What is happening here?
Yeah, handcuffs for this lady.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. So, okay, fine.
We see that there's a garden on the school. I was like, God damn it. Yeah. More. There's more. And they introduce this as his quiet place. And we're like halfway through the movie. And it's
he's like Peter Parker, by the way.
Yeah, they go back to it a few times. And it was like, what a weird time to introduce this new thing, this new device.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He at some point says to Gabriella, just call me Freaky Callback Boy. And I was like, that's what I'm going to call you.
Yeah, he has zero game.
You got it, man.
He is not.
Callback boy.
Yeah, what we get here is like the fun and games, right? In big quotes, where it's like I'm doing both, and he starts losing. So like he starts not paying attention to basketball,
right?
And then we get the bathroom thing. God damn it.
The bathroom thing.
She's like the T-1000. She's like kicking down stalls looking for her.
She is. And
is she going to stab her?
I desperately wanted her to kick open the door and there'd just be some kid
taking a dump.
Yeah. Like, isn't that what you want? Like that's the comedy beat, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. Instead, she missed a full human being hiding in plain eyesight.
I don't know how to describe this. So people just look it up because it's a GIF, and you've probably seen the GIF. But she's hidden from the camera. So there's a wall.
There's like a little there's a little alcove next, like it's like a little piece of the wall like that juts out where the sinks are, that you could, hide a person behind, but they'd still be completely visible
from the camera, which is on the other side of the wall.
Right.
But Sharpay is in the background of the shot, fully on the other side of where she's hiding.
Yeah, looking directly at the place this kid would be. Like there's no way around
the whole room. Yeah, so she just apparates. She just like
No, Sharpay is a T-Rex. She can only see movement. If she doesn't move, Sharpay can't see her.
Shit.
That's why she's such a good dancer and singer, because that's like how she really sees it.
Right.
It's T-Rex rules.
Was there a fucking song before this?
There was
between the Know Your Role. Yeah.
I didn't think any of the songs were important enough to remember them.
That's kind of honestly, where I'm at.
Yeah. And I didn't mean that in a condescending way. I really just didn't think they were plot points that mattered.
Most of them were, again, a lot of them were like, this is how I feel, which works. You think of a musical where it's like, usually what you do is you take your main characters and you give them a song at the beginning. Think of Aladdin, where like you have him being like, I'm a thief. Here's me. I'm a thief. You know, like you give them a thing and then they go like, this is what I want. This is my dreams.
Yes. I'm a good guy, even though I'm a thief. I have to, you know?
Right. And then there's here's everything. Here's the status quo. Here's the song. And we get little hints of that, but like Gabrielle and fucking Troy is his fucking
Troy. Yeah.
They should have gotten songs at the beginning. That was like, I guess his head in the game one is supposed to be that sort of.
But I don't
because the idea is he's distracted by Gabrielle,
but he didn't
not
have that beat in the song.
He didn't have that beat.
Like you need the beat in the song where he's like, I can't because I'm thinking about this girl. No, you got to keep your head in the game, right? Like he didn't have that.
They know sort of where to put the songs. Like when later she gets betrayed, she has a song. And I'm like,
that one was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. That's the way where a song would go.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of him juggling these two things. His dad walks in on him. Stop me if I'm skipping ahead, but he walks in on him actually doing a good job flirting with this young lady. It's fine. I mean, she's enjoying it. He's like, oh, I'm doing basketball. And she's like, I got your ball. And then he's like, no, give me my ball.
It's cute. It's high school cute. It's, exactly. It's fine. Yeah.
And the idea is he's practicing extra because he
skipped his practice. Right.
His dad walks in spinning the mad game with this young lady. And he's like, get the fuck out of here.
You made my son skip practice. I hate you. I hate you, precious.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Seems.
And he basically like yells at him for like, he's like, this chick is taking you away from basketball.
You know, your mother's dying wish was for you to be state champion.
Yeah.
You know, we needed a line like that. It would have helped us.
Right. And like, we do learn that this is the thing is like, he was also a champion, they learn. And that would have been better if like he missed his shot, the dad, and is like putting this on his son.
Right.
But we're not doing character work like that.
We need that. Like, we need a reason for the dad to be this way.
Yes.
You know, so that we're like, okay, sure, I get it. You know,
because his dad's like, everybody's positive and nice. So its dad should be like, it's cool. You're hanging like, that's great, buddy. Like, you know, you met someone.
She seems really nice, but also I need you to focus on basketball.
Yeah.
You know,
he gets an intervention. I thought they were going to beat him with soap. They intervene him in the locker room.
Yeah.
And they've set up so we get multiple presentations.
Yeah. The science one is sneaky awesome.
Yeah.
Because
it's a slideshow.
It's a slideshow. The science nerds claim to be the origin of the following people: Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yep.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, some people who are actually involved in the sciences.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it was like, so you're just claiming anyone?
Science icon Oprah.
Right. Frida Kahlo was like, wait a minute. You're claiming an actual theater person with Oprah. She's an actor. What are you talking about? You know, like, it was unbelievable.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
The first they present, the basketball buddies present him with trophies. They've stacked all the trophies and all the pictures.
Yeah.
And they do a presentation of all the pictures.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you're letting down the biggest one of all, your dad.
Your dad.
Simultaneously. Because what we didn't set up is that the science and the jocks,
they meet.
They meet and they scheme.
Yes. The scheme is to separate them so that I'm forgetting why. I mean, I know why the basketball team's so in bed. Oh yeah, because each of them wants their respective person.
The mathalon, the math game. Yeah.
Yeah, they each want to win their respective competition, and they need the person focused. So we got to break them up.
Right. Which again, I don't know.
Okay. Meanwhile,
scheduling, just scheduling.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Meanwhile, Sharpay and her lover brother are seeing this, misinterpreting it like they need to do something, and then spending, I don't know, 8 months at the beach or something before they decide to do anything about that. Before hatching a plan.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Because we're going to get a whole other conflict here real quick.
Right.
So the plan that they've planned this out is they are going to So while the basketball buddies are doing their intervention, they are secretly filming Zac Efron because they know that he's going to say something.
Right.
Yeah.
About her.
They don't know what. Yeah. They're like, you know how guys, when they're really into girls, they like talk about how much they suck. Like, all we have to do is film him saying that.
It's only a matter of time, man. Just get him talking. He'll say he hates her. It'll happen.
Exactly.
And it's like, why would that have worked? You know what I mean?
Spoilers, this works somehow.
It does work. Why would it have, though?
Yeah.
You know?
And so they've set up, because they've teamed with the Science Nerds, a live stream with a hidden camera where that streams live to a computer in the science room with like the most generic stream graphic.
It's pretty
amazing.
It's pretty advanced tech for 2006, though.
It is.
I gotta say, like, you know,
clear,
like
clear
that. Oh, that's like 4K. I don't know what.
Yes.
Like, I think that's what the Science Club was working on the whole semester before that.
But the science, we forgot the fact that they print out a poster.
That's
they present her with a poster. I forget what the poster is because I was too busy writing in all caps. They printed out a poster and presented an entire slideshow on top of this other scheme.
They're just
schemes on schemes.
They just like have a whole graphics department working very hard. Like, we got to get this out in time, man. The confrontation happens this afternoon. We got to get it done. We got to print this out. We got to put the thing together. Like, this is a very high fidelity, high tech presentation being put together for these two. It's very important.
And so then they're like, you think he cares about you? Watch this. And it's him basically saying like, he says like, you are my real bros. I don't care about her.
She means nothing to me.
Stuff.
Who cares about theater? Not me.
And her reaction is haunting. I found it haunting.
Because she was really hurt. Yeah.
It's a really good performance for something that like, it felt like she was watching 9/11 or like she was learning that someone died. She doesn't speak.
It was really hurtful.
Yeah,
yes,
she stares into the middle distance.
Yeah.
And I know what's happening is this actress knows how to cry on cue.
Yeah,
she's doing it. She's doing the process.
Yeah.
And probably because she's a newer actress, she's focusing on that. But she just stares into the middle distance and just starts silently weeping. And that's it. She doesn't say a word, and they all go like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I guess went too far here. Maybe.
Yeah, like she breaks.
Yeah, they hurt her really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah,
it's emotional. I was like, "Damn, that worked."
Yeah. That was the best performance moment in the movie, far and away.
It's like
close.
Right. It's like I don't know how to. It's haunting. It's a haunting moment. It's like she's learned something fundamental about her reality that wasn't true.
Yeah.
And she's mourning this lost reality. This like she's grieving.
Yeah.
And and they're like, Jesus, all right, bye. Like they fuck her up.
Yeah.
And then she sings just a terrible song.
She sings a not very good song. They have this one very planned moment where she runs it, like walks in front of a banner.
Yes.
Of the basketball
the school
team,
has everything.
Where she's singing to him and he's got a giant close up of his face. That banner is like a $50,000 banner. Like there's no way a kid could have made that. That's only made by professional banner making graphics. Yeah.
Richest school in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her song is her basically slowly taking the longest anybody's ever taken to leave a building. It's her slowly walking. I was hoping she was just going to go take a dump or something because I was like, where are you going?
Sure.
She walks down the hallway, goes down the stairs, goes to the banner, goes down a hallway, and that's the song. And it takes 5 minutes.
It's one of those songs. It's like, this would have been a great moment to show us locales we would have been interested in seeing. Like parts of the high school that we're going to go to or parts we've been to before.
Same with the Garden. The Garden, I was like, he should have had a solo song at the beginning at the Garden if that's like his quiet place, you know?
Yeah.
Establish
what would that song have been?
The locations about how he wants to he's like, they should have started it at this idea. Like, I think going back to the not committing to do things.
Yeah.
I think this should have been about a kid fully swapping from basketball to theater.
Yeah, I'd rather be a theater guy. Yes.
Yeah, his song at the beginning should be like, I'm not happy doing basketball.
Yeah, I don't want to be a basketball star.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. I'd do that on the Garden because fuck it.
I mean, yeah,
I
think that's
Quiet
right.
Place.
That was a more traditional version of, like, there's a lot of great stories like that, but it's a Tale as Old as Time that's really good. Like, it's like the Ark of the Chosen, or like lots of movies. Like, Dad wants me to be this,
right?
And it's not. It doesn't fit. I don't fit in.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel for this.
No,
movie,
it's fine.
You know,
Yeah.
So her song ends and she's so sad, and he just like skips on over to her. It's like in a Wonder almost, where they like pan, and he's just like, hey,
what's up, baby? Yeah.
I just trashed you.
Yeah.
I just got finished trashing you to the guys. And so they do the misunderstanding, or the thing where basically she ends it. She's like, I know you don't want to do any of this, so let's not do it.
Yeah. Again, though, I thought that part worked because she was actually kind of nice about it.
Yeah.
To him, and he was confused.
Yeah.
And
it works.
Yeah, it works. Like, yeah,
he's confused.
Best thing in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she does a good job performing them, and this could have been a conflict that lasts more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
He gets all hurt. He's sad. He needs a haircut.
He really does. He really does need a haircut. Just the cost and conditioner alone. It's like, no, man, let it go. It's not.
He also
anywhere.
Breaks basically the friend groups realize they broke the other one. They broke their friend.
Yeah. It really hurts them all. Yeah.
They like shut down, and he like goes to the roof to hang out with his plants. And they realize
you say that out loud. It's like, so this kid's a serial killer. Like, what's the deal with that? You know, like, anyway. Go ahead.
But I don't mind this idea, which is they do something to both of them. They realize they went too far immediately, because that's what happens. And so they immediately go like, whoa, we fucked up. And they just fix it. The friends, right?
Right.
They don't commit to their schemes. They go and they say, we were scheming. This is what we did.
Yeah.
Conflict over.
Right. But no, thank goodness we can still have a third act.
Oh,
because in comes Sharpay.
Yep. And this is where I wrote, this is the point where I'd be happy if there was no more movie to watch.
Well, I think a musical needs a big performative third act, right? Like,
they do.
I mean, I wasn't into the
choose
story.
A conflict. Yeah. Choose a conflict is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
So Sharpay plays her fucking big hand.
Yeah, which is her big hand is.
Wait,
go ahead.
We get the Romeo and Juliet scene first. He goes to her mansion.
Yep.
Talks to her hot mom.
Right.
Her hot mom's like, she doesn't want to talk to you. So he just lurks in the back. She could shoot him. She could legally shoot him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she is in her room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a rifle. Her room filled with windows and balconies.
Mm-hmm.
Her mansion room.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls her and he's like, turn around. And he's on the balcony. He climbed up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it starts to make you appreciate maybe Edward Cullen wasn't the worst person in the world.
I know. It's a real Edward move.
Yeah, it is a real Edward move. He's a little bit more cheerful than Edward.
Yes.
You know.
But he talks to her a little bit, and you realize he's talking to her while he's climbing her balcony, and you can't hear it.
Yeah.
So it is like Edward flying.
Yeah. You should hear the strain of him trying to break into her home.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, they make up. And then we get Sharpay's evil plan.
And then Sharpay and Ryan, fabulously dressed, decide to go and change the time of the callback.
They go to the theater. This woman who's again maniac, and they're like, we think you should do the auditions at a totally different time.
Yeah.
And this woman who's talked repeatedly about punctuality,
timing,
how everybody needs to be on her clock, is like, I don't see a problem with that. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
if you're saying it, you're right. You wouldn't have any ulterior motives. You're a good student.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they changed the day, and what would normally happen here is she would do that, and then not even the principal, like the vice principal or like an office manager would call her and go,
hey,
no, sorry,
that
you can't do it. We have too much that day. We have the math thing. We have the game. Like in fact, we should probably do the math thing and the game at different times.
I was going to say that was already kind of a problem that the school should have solved in the first place. Why is the decathlon at the same time as the championship game?
Right. How was Gabrielle going to audition anyway?
Right. That was already a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they should. And if the teacher was like, I'm not budging, they're like, okay, well, you're going to have to add in extra audition time because these are kids where it's a teaching experience. This is a learning environment. So just be flexible because they have classes and other things.
Yeah, maybe set the armband down, man. Maybe chill out on the rhetoric a bit, you know?
And she would say, okay, and the credits would roll. But they have to do a terrorism.
Yeah, they do. They
have
to
out-scheme the scheme. So they learn, all of these.
Right. Well, that's the other funny thing is like the kids learn that this is a problem. And instead of like, let's go talk to the school administrator, they're like, no, you know what the simplest thing would be to do? Like, let's sabotage every one of these events to create a complicated solution.
Talk to the school. And if that doesn't work, talk to your parents.
Right. Talk to your parents.
And your parents would talk to the school and they would go, okay, we'll do this because that's how schools work.
Right. It's so obvious. It's deeply obvious. I also just want to say those callbacks have taken forever to arrive.
Yes.
Like I know a little something about audition. Callbacks aren't like months later. They're like
days later.
A couple days, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what period of time this is supposed to have taken place over.
It's still fresh in their heads, I imagine.
Yeah,
you know?
so you can compare the performances. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
This seems like it took place over months.
It felt that way.
But
I mean, this movie is 90 minutes and it felt like it took 3 hours to watch.
It really did. It wasn't fast.
It wasn't fast.
It was not a breezy watch.
Yeah.
It was not breezy.
So scheme upon scheme. And I thought what was going to happen is he's going to sing at the basketball game.
Me too.
Like they're going to trick the teacher into going in.
Broadcasting it again, maybe.
But they do a terrorism. So we get, oh, God damn it. I wrote a page about
in this
scheduling,
if that's okay. So like I can actually set the stage for the things that are happening. We basically get into a Godfather 1 type montage where we're splitting between several scenes. One scene is the stuff that's happening at the callbacks. Okay. Another scene is the stuff that's happening leading up to the basketball game. And the third scene is the stuff that's happening at the decathlon. Right. Now, there's just several key details I think are very important. One of them is that we watch Sharpay and her brother lover warm up. Like just the warm ups, they decided we needed a cutaway to the warm ups, and the warm ups were the funniest thing in the movie. It's not close. Like the stuff they were doing for their warm up was pretty funny. I was like, okay, so we have some legitimate comedy chops here. At least these kids are funny, you know. Like
again, one of them was in a scary movie. They I don't know. They get the assignment. Yeah.
The decathlon is a baffling event in every respect.
They're like literally do science and we'll all watch. And like science takes time.
Work like that? Yeah. It's like, what does it mean? Yeah.
We'll watch as you quietly do things on paper and wait for chemical reactions and like sit in the corner while this
Testing
guy
theorems.
judges you.
Yeah. Like, do I agree with your theorems and hypotheses? Do I agree with your data taking measures? That creates a huge problem for us in terms of time that I'm going to get to in a minute.
Okay.
Because it creates a time problem. I think the movie wants us to think it's 5 minutes or something. There's no way it could be.
No, the idea, so what they're going to do is they want to stop both the basketball game and the math game so they can both run and go audition. Yes. That's what they're doing.
That's the plan. Yes. Correct.
And everybody runs and joins and watches.
Correct.
And the whole school at this point is in on it because they're like, we're going to help out.
Right. So
which again, anybody in the school should just go like, this is what, hey,
happens.
Teachers, this is what we want to happen. Can you fix this? We all want this.
They're all drunk off in some resort, somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, it's only scheming in this school. It's all scheme communication.
Yeah.
So they do a terrorism. They set off. They do two things. They in the science room, they set off a gas bomb. They set off a chemical reaction.
They win first. They just
win real
knock
quick,
that shit right out. Yeah.
So I don't know why they need to do this because they've won.
Because they already
just leave.
They
can just go, okay, bye.
Right. They already won.
Yeah. She can just go, okay, we're done. And the thing is, they're like, we need you there for it, and it's like you really just need her to prep.
Yeah.
Like she's not. It's not like a physical activity. You just need to like put her name on the thing, say that she couldn't be here, but here's her work.
Like here's her work. Yeah, we can write the equation out. She wrote it out for us.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But they set off a gas attack and gas the room
to vacate the room. And go ahead because you're making.
And simultaneously, she gets on her laptop the smart kid,
Yeah.
and she hacks the scoreboard
and
of
Jim.
the game.
Yeah. Yes.
And Jim, like lights go on and off.
Yes. I need to talk about that scoreboard. I need desperately to talk about the scoreboard.
Because what they do, the scoreboard shuts off and the lights go on and off.
Yeah.
And they go, we better stop the game and evacuate.
Yeah. That's their response.
I guess this is like smack dab in the war in Iraq. So maybe they're like, it's the terrorists. It's like they should have done an anthrax scare. They should have done.
They would have stopped I didn't have a problem with they would stop play.
It just felt like they were like, everybody out. We need to evacuate. Yeah, and I was like, because what?
Yeah. Well, okay. I need to talk about the scoreboard. Can we talk about it? Yeah. The way it's arranged.
Oh,
they have two number displays.
Yeah.
And it like at your first glance, you're like, oh, the top one should be points. And the bottom one is fouls. But if you look at the way it's labeled, it looks like the bottom one is points. Okay, which leads me to a problem. The problem is they've been playing this game and the score is 0-0. How long has this game been going on?
Basketball.
It's 0-0, and it's like how long? Like I think the movie wants me to think this just started.
I really wish,
but no,
probably, yeah,
it couldn't have.
No, because then you could again figure out the fucking schedule. If it's like just, I don't know. This would have been a funnier movie if everybody was like high school level. So like everybody wasn't very good.
Yes.
Like this is all leading to them being like, we want to hear you sing, bro. It would have been so funny if they were bad at singing.
Yes, that was the other thing.
They'd done all this effort to get them to sing, and they're like, wow.
That was the other piece.
They're not getting this.
This would have been so funny if it was just very clear that Sharpay was better. Like, that would have been such a funny.
And then they auditioned, and the teacher's like, "Thank you, we're going with someone else."
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to make another choice
because she's basically strong armed because it's like the whole school is like, yeah, and it's like, all right, I guess they don't even have to fucking audition. I guess.
I think you could make an argument that Sharpay actually was better anyway. Like her and her brother actually were better.
Experience.
Yeah. But like, it really would have been funny if Sharpay was just better.
It would have been amazing.
Clearly better. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So they hacked the scoreboard, and I don't know. Again, anthrax scare. I guess that would have cleared out the whole school, and they're just trying to clear out 2 rooms.
Yeah.
But it's like they evacuate the gym over this, which is wild. And so then they run to audition, and at the 0 hour, she's suddenly nervous. She's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like,
what's that about?
We're gonna get expelled. We set off a gas attack for this.
Right. We like exposed our infrastructure. Like, like our electrical infrastructure is
there's no going
hanging in the wind now. We're in deep shit. Yeah.
But they sing, there's a backdrop. They suddenly like have a backdrop, and they suddenly have like techies working, which is whatever.
I believe that song was the big hit from this movie.
Yeah.
Like I did a little research after this, and I was like, oh, okay, so that was the big.
The whole school shows up.
It didn't feel like it should have been the big hit from the movie. Or I guess I didn't feel like any of these songs were like, wow, great song.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think if you're a kid and it's like your first musical, it's like, all right.
It's hard to know.
Fine.
It's hard to know. You can't recreate that.
This movie's not for us. It's for children.
No, for sure. Sure. But like, I still feel like, I don't know, man. I can remember every note of lots of Little Mermaid songs, or Aladdin or Lion King.
These didn't feel like good songs,
Yeah. Anyway.
So they sing, and again, it feels like it's just a kid using his popularity to ice out other kids in a musical. At this point, it's just the basketball star being like, "I'm gonna be the star, baby," and the teacher at this point, how could she say no? And this is where it dawned on me, like, this is all just for an audition.
Yeah,
like we're never seeing the actual musical.
Yeah. Well, that must be the sequel, right? Is the problems being, the problems of getting the musical produced. One assumes.
I thought this movie was going to be about putting on a musical. A high school musical.
Oh, right.
Putting it on. And it wasn't. It's just about getting to an audition that could have been scheduled at any time.
I mean, it is offensive. It is very offensive.
We don't know. Did the musical do well? Like, what if they what if the musical never happens because they like break up? Like, we don't know.
That's a thing. just a couple other odds and ends here because we're pretty much at the end of the story.
Now, well, we get everybody's in the gym.
Yeah.
And everything is being wrapped up scene. So we get the hooking up.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah. Wherever. Well, when we say hooking up, you just mean everybody pairs off like it's Grease.
Yep. We get the playmaker getting the ball and the weird fucking Dracula shot.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't seem comfortable shooting a basketball, though. I'll say that.
Yeah. We get a song that's like an hour long. She looks scared. She looks like a mouse in the middle of a Best Buy. Like she looks terrified.
That is a scary ass place for a mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, briefly, I just have a couple of questions about 2 or 3 scenes earlier. So the drama teacher gets up and gives a spiel before this callback. Right. And then she gets a photograph taken of her. And it's like, who was that by and why? And then we cut to the person who did it. It's a 9-year-old child.
Right.
It's like he's got a flash camera and he's taking a picture and it's like
the audition.
What is that?
Children with her, right?
Yeah. Like,
who were those children?
Yeah. Who are they? What are they doing?
They're in a few scenes and it's like, but they're like dressed up.
They're not high school age. I think they're younger than that.
Are they her children?
That's what it seems like.
Who are those kids?
Yeah. Yeah. Seems
were they real? Maybe like only someone she could see them or something? Yeah.
That's a good question. That could be an interesting sequel idea. That was a concern. I really wanted to know what the liquid that was boiling was in the science.
In the gas attack?
Yeah. I wanted to know.
I think it implies that it's like a fart smell because they gas themselves. They're like suicide bombs.
Right. Yeah. This was.
They gas themselves first, and they know it's coming, and they're like prepare.
But
they know they have to. They know so it's a crime. They know they have to act like they are the victims as well, so no one suspects them.
Right. That's true.
That's
true.
Scheme.
It leads me to this question. That's like, so in Harry Potter, the reason this scene happens is because they have to be cooking potions in potion class, right?
This is like Hogwarts, this school.
Yeah, kind of.
In a way. It's like the Muggle version.
What is the stated reason why they're cooking things in this decathlon?
I know.
What is the premise reason why that's happening?
It's cooking meth. It's Albuquerque.
It's like,
I don't.
I see.
Sorry, my headcanon is now like, what if this is the Muggle world that knows about wizards?
Yeah.
And they're like, our school should also be like have potions and stuff. Because it's one of those classic like green things in a beaker, and it's like science.
It's like, what is that? Yeah, it's very like Nickelodeon. Like a Nickelodeon version of science. Yes. You can see why.
It's also in Jurassic World Dominion. This is an aside, but there's a lab scene where they literally do that just to show how bad that movie is.
Great.
Anyway.
Wow. It really shows you why Walter White was able to rise to prominence in that town.
Yeah.
Like how easy it was for him. Because it's like
just a chemistry town.
They're willing to cook stuff any old time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just cooking in this town. That's all that's happening.
Did he was a teacher, right?
He was a high school chemistry teacher.
Are we to understand that he taught at this school?
No, we saw the school. It couldn't be the same school.
Okay.
So I'm imagining,
but it's a rival school. Like this school played against this school in basketball.
That could have been his school losing.
Yes, Walter White could be in the audience, just seething.
Could be reasonable to think he was.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Absolutely reasonable.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what was going on in that. This is written by someone who like, I'm like if I read this script, my first question would be like, have you gone to high school? You know, like I would, maybe this writer just never has been to a high school.
My question is, what about high school are you interested in talking about? Like you decided to set this musical in high school. So like, what about high school is the thing that fits this?
That's a great question.
Fits this concept. Because like, you don't want to talk about young love, really. You don't want to talk about class system stuff, really. Like you're not interested in that.
You don't want to do a brave take on the coming out or like being out, like cliques of being what's expected of you.
No,
because there's no brave take here on like even on like cliques where again they all dress the same, everybody is the same. I want to talk about the ending with Sharpay because there's no conflicts.
Yes, right. Well, okay, go ahead and do that because I kind of want to talk at some length about do you think?
Okay, yeah. I mean, this plays into it because the ending, if you're wondering what happened to Sharpay, if she's like, no, at the end, she's just like, I'm fine. And that's it. And then they all dance with her, and they're all like, we're friends now. And I was like, she spent the whole movie trying to destroy you. She is a villain. She was kicking down stalls, presumably to assault you in the bathroom or something. Like, she was a villain. She's their Joker. And then at the end, she just goes, you win.
Yeah.
I respect you. And then they all sing about how they're all in this together. And I'm like, no, you weren't. You weren't all in it together.
Yeah. Right. That's where it's sort of like, does the movie think this was a couple of days? Because maybe it's not such a big deal if it's like, well, we had a bad week.
Yeah, exactly.
But it feels like much longer than that.
But yeah, going to what they want to say, it feels like that's just, it's feel goods. It's something, it's a schlock to throw at kids that's just like, hey, unity, etc. Like, that's it.
So we're recording this after, like, at least a year or maybe 6 months after that Nickelodeon documentary came out about all those child abuse things. Yeah.
This is coming out around the holidays, so we're recording this after this is coming out after the election.
Oh.
I know.
Well, that's not when we're recording it.
Wild?
Yeah.
We should do a session in the next one called like What's New, and we can talk about really outdated things.
That'd be fun.
There in the
love it. Why not? We have four of these to do.
Yeah. So this could be for all we know, this podcast could be playing on a tinny radio in a wasteland. Just echoing in a skull.
I can hear the 50s Fallout tunes.
Yeah.
I can hear the mournful 50s crooning as you do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the reason I bring up the Nickelodeon documentary is a lot of the stuff that gets brought up in that, there's some like really egregious stuff, and then there's more subtle stuff about the kids being asked to do things that they didn't understand what the innuendos meant.
Right, which is very manipulative.
It's manipulative, yeah. And my question is, and I'm not accusing anybody of manipulation, do you think the movie could have accidentally had this narrative about coming out?
I feel like so my guess, obviously theater, lots of gay people involved in theater.
So that's part of it, yeah.
But it's not exclusive. But that's all to say that these are theater kids and theater people doing this.
Right.
Where like I imagine the people involved probably were like, Disney isn't allowing us to have anything gay in this, so we're gonna have to sneak it in. Now, like, I can see a version where it was even written that way, because there has been so much things written for Disney that have been like, we're going to sneak in these things because Disney doesn't want it. And so this could just be yet another version of that.
Now, I did a little bit of Googling before I got on here. And if
about
I'm not
the movie or in general,
just Googling on like, what do tires cost now? Stuff like that. No, stuff about is there any conversation around the coming out theme? And if I'm not mistaken, there is a movie where they have a gay relationship and it was controversial.
Oh, good.
I believe.
I mean,
I believe that
it's the Disney cowardice where they've announced their first gay character like 6 times, where they're like, Avengers will have its first gay character, and it's a background character in one scene. Right. Or they'll say this character was actually gay, and you're like, really? Because there's nothing in the movie
really
indicating that they're gay. Yeah.
Didn't
so
really
like
matter.
Disney is just fucking cowards with this stuff, and so
well, I just kind of wonder. Well, anyway, that's just like an interesting thing to track.
Yeah,
as we go along.
It's incredible with Disney because there's a huge like queer community that follows Disney and works for Disney. Right. They've had a long line of, just gay people who are fucking wrote these things and made these things. And it's like, it's a long line of stuff. And like, when it comes to like, I think when it comes to the gay stuff, I think it's less of the actors not knowing. I think it's the opposite.
That, yes.
I think it's like everybody pretend like it's not. And like, I don't like it. It obviously depends on context. Like The Shining, for example, famously, the kid who played Danny didn't know it was a horror movie and never saw the movie.
That makes sense.
And like, that's a case of protecting a kid in a right way, where it's like, it's just a kid. We're not going to be like, so your dad in this scene is trying to kill you with an axe. Do you know what that's like?
Right.
Do you know what it's like to be chopped up? Yeah. Yeah. But like, there is like sexual innuendo, I would say, is like, it's a fucked up thing not to tell a kid. if they're saying a line that has any sort of
especially when they're 18, because they're not children. They're like, nobody here I don't think is underage. I think they're all 18.
Yes, yeah, they're all
so
again, they're probably 18 for many reasons. It's just easier to work with adults, alone. Legal adults. Yeah,
the workday alone. Yeah. So I mean, I'm just sort of curious. I was curious if you agreed with me that it couldn't.
Well,
it doesn't feel like a happy accident that it showed up. It feels much more intentional than that.
And what I would go further and say, without that, this isn't much of a movie. And I know, like, I'm sure there's a lot of fans of this movie who don't see that subtext. But, like, again, I see this as, like, noise that you give a kid who's, like, 8, and they like it, and then they grow out of it, and then they're like, that was silly. And, like, there's tons of things, you know, I think of, like, Saved by the Bell or Power Rangers, where it's like we have nostalgia for it. But if you go back and watch it, you're like, well, this isn't anything, you know?
Saved by the Bell rarely tackled anything of any substance, and when it did, those are the only episodes that stand out.
And it was the most, and it was usually basic. Sometimes it was out of its mind.
And once in a while,
and it's like we're appealing to the largest demographic of kids, so that preteens can have something to watch and give us money on the Disney Channel. We need to appeal to this age demographic on our channel.
Right.
And this does it. And like, again, I have nothing against this film artistically, because that's what it is and that's what it achieves.
It's a step above like a daily soap opera.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a low budget, quick film, like, that's intended to be fun for kids, and it achieves that.
Yeah, and I think that subtext elevates it a little bit, so that when kids grow up, maybe they realize that stuff. You know, like, this is not making bad kids. This is making good. This is a good thing to tell a kid, what this movie says, except for the multitasking. But, you know, that's
I don't think this is hurting anybody. You know, it's not for me to do the math on who gets hurt and who doesn't.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that this can only make kids more empathetic. It's just like, it does feel like it veers away.
Well,
it shies away from what the subtext does seem to be.
So that leads me to this other conversation that I hope we'll see if you're interested in it or not.
I'm always interested.
Do you need to have cruelty and competition to effectively talk about high school? Because I'm thinking about every high school movie I've ever seen where they tried to whitewash it like this, or make it sort of a playful, hopeful place. Fundamentally, it doesn't really stick around. Whereas the ones I remember all have that kind of, you know, like, I think people are going through stuff in it.
Yeah, I think you need conflict to tell a story.
Sure.
Even that, there's probably examples where you don't. But generally, you need, something to happen. You have characters who need to be changed, who need to want something, generally. And that can be very loose. There are very loose versions of that.
That's basic movie rules. But
but you look at a movie like Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, that's a fascinating when it comes to what conflicts are and what, like, arcs are. So, like, there are movies that still have conflict, but they redefine what it means to have conflict. But that's all to say, like, 21 Jump Street, I think the joke in that was it was like a non-bully school, right?
Okay. I've never seen that.
You can have a depiction of high school that's different, or like it's a more progressive version, but that has to see, this also is coming from someone who hasn't stepped into high school for a very long time.
Sure.
So maybe they're different, but like,
it's been over 20 years for me. So I understand.
One imagines there's still bullying in high school, you know,
it's human nature. You know what I mean? Like I understand that a high school kid's not going to watch The Breakfast Club now and be like, wow, they really nailed it. Like, I get that.
But I imagine there's a little more tolerance, but it probably depends on where you are. Like I said, my high school was very chill. My high school was like this high school with more fucking and more drugs.
Sure. Well, but I think even those things would create some.
But there was still drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were still kids who didn't like each other, or like racism or bullying. Like it's unavoidable. But I think to make a movie that is a genuine look at this adolescence in high school, you probably have to have some sort of gritty look at high school itself.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Depends on why the high school is in the movie.
Right. Like, I don't necessarily need high school to be accurately represented for the movie to be good. Like, say, Brick.
Right. Or like
high school, but I love
going
it. It was
back
a great
to
movie.
Power Rangers. The conflict of Power Rangers is giant monsters.
Sure.
So the high school is whatever.
Sure.
And so, like, if the conflict is out of the high school, then it's like, yeah, the high school can be fucking whatever, I guess,
I think the high school in most versions of Spider-Man I've seen has always been very, like, whatever.
There's a little bullying. And the Sam Raimi ones had bullying.
Yeah. These are more cartoonish.
The Andrew Garfield ones do have bullying as well. But then they have a little more of a progressive. There's still a bully in the new ones, but that one feels more like Tom Holland is like, I don't know. I don't remember the first one exactly, but he's like awkward, but it felt like a little more like there's not like jocks shoving you in the hall,
Right. That trope in particular, the way the jock nerd relationship, that feels like we're ready to retire that forever.
I think because nerds are now jocks, meaning that what's popular is nerd
culture.
Stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So like if you went into a high school right now, the football star would also like comic books.
Yeah, and
Star
video
Wars,
games.
Yeah.
There's less of a clear divide culturally.
Yeah,
for sure. And there's less of a line being drawn from those things to blue and white collar jobs and stuff like there was back in the day. So I understand those relationships.
I'm sure there's still conflicts.
Oh yeah. And that's my problem with this movie and a lot of these high school movies we saw from this time that are about love, is it's not a real high school.
Yeah, high school's not about love.
That's period. 100%. But also like, that's why I'm not interested in the love story, though.
Yeah, and also just the starting premise, which is the first song. Look how excited we are to start high school. I'm like, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, nobody wants to be there. Are you kidding?
Again, this is the best high school in the world, apparently. It's the most highest funded high school. But like, that's like one of the first fundamental rules of high school. Kids don't want to be in high school. This is a movie, and I think this counts for like Saved by the Bell and a lot of this stuff. It's not for high school kids. It's for kids who are in elementary school.
Who haven't gone to high school yet.
Yes.
Well,
look how great high school's gonna be.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
I think it's for pre-teens. I think it's high school propaganda. It's you can't wait to go to high school. It's going to have a garage. It's going to have all this stuff. And then they go to the school and they learn that it hasn't been updated in 50 years.
Right.
And it's awful.
And actually, you need to start taking the PSATs or you're not going to be ready,
But yeah, I do think the high school movies because again, I don't think this movie is looking to be like Dazed and Confused, obviously. It's not looking to have a historical mark. It's just, let's make money.
Yeah, sure.
And so like this will be seen, I think, as nostalgia, but it won't be looked back as like important. I
think these are the movies that are really interesting to look back at as like markers for what our culture was actually like. Like I think the movies where they're not trying to say something artistic, but they're like, what is the given world that we can create so that we can make some money? Like,
right.
That's where our actual cultural assumptions come out.
It's the safe corporate world. It's a commercial.
Right.
Like it's when people talk about like corporate wokeism, that's like, this is the true criticism of that is a problem, which is like that very safe, everything is safe, everybody's happy, and everything's like a commercial.
Right.
Where it's like we have a mathematically diverse group of kids who are all like happy and nothing's too edgy and no one is too different. And it's very funny in a movie about everybody has to do their thing.
Oh yeah, totally doesn't work on that level. But like so again, thinking about Twilight and also thinking about 50 Shades of Grey, like the given world in all those movies to tell these love stories is always much wealthier than the average American.
Yes.
Or the above average American.
That shit's wild to me.
5% maybe of wealth.
I don't understand that. I have the same issue with superhero movies where it's like, why does anybody want to see someone who's on top of the world? go on this adventure with no conflict.
Well, and the answer is because if they start showing you real life, that becomes more, that is like a tractor beam for issues. That
right.
And we have to think about this now instead
of
the,
this is,
you know
what, a way to look at this is like, this is what high school would be like in the utopian Star Trek universe, where it's like a socialist Eden, wherever nobody has to worry about money, where a high school coach can live in a mansion,
right. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, are you absolutely kidding? And I
that's why it's like The Good Place, because I think it's secretly hell.
Yes, that's right. This is The Good Place
version.
It
looks like heaven. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. The that drama teacher is actually Ted Danson, and Ted Danson's actually a demon. Those are the things I know from movies. Yeah, I agree with that. I do think the template in which this world exists is interesting as a way of sort of trying to wash out all the conflicts that are like mathematically wash out actually dramatically interesting conflicts. For instance, Disney seems like hell bent on making sure that you only know one parent for everybody. They're hell bent on that.
Everybody's
you can only know one parent. They can't have two. And I don't
parent
know
has
if
to look like them, has to look like like an older version of that person. I think Walt Disney, when he formed Disney, he's like, my dream is to start a studio where kids lose their parents.
It's for real. It's such a theme in all their stuff.
They love it. They love it.
Like, being an orphan or losing a parent is like such a fundamental gate you must cross to be in a Disney story, or having an absent parent for inexplicable reasons.
Yeah. And again, it all feels, I don't know, vaguely off. It actually reminds me of I saw this TV Glow, a movie that it has a general theme of this idea of a world being slightly off.
Yeah.
Like I'm realizing like a really fun horror movie would be someone in this universe slowly realizing they are in fact in hell.
Yeah. I actually think that this universe is a pretty templatable universe. Like, I don't think it needs to be the High School Musical universe. It needs to be Disney high school generally, or like or sitcom high school, and like that is a place that I think you could set a story that's very Good Place-ish.
Oh yeah,
and it would be 100%. Interesting.
Yeah, because this felt haunting. Again, nothing. It's that when you combine that with the filmmaking being just nihilistic, where they do not care, where classes last 2 minutes, and geography doesn't make any sense. It feels like hell. It feels like something is wrong.
The one scene class is truly one of the great cinema sins I've ever seen. It's really bad.
It's not even like, I don't even feel like these are bad filmmakers. I just feel like they don't care.
They don't care. Yeah, that's a decision that's like, this was easily fixed by a different shot than the one you have, and you chose not to do that.
Yeah.
It
feels like they get a certain amount of money and like it's a commercial. They're shooting a commercial where it's like, we just got to make these fucking suits happy.
So I don't know if this is true, but I do know that, I don't know for sure. I've heard pretty consistently that like Hallmark movies, right? Hallmark movies start with scripts that are like 110 to 120 pages, right?
Right.
And then they always make a 90-minute movie out of that.
That's amazing.
Which is to say, they're gonna cut 30 pages.
So when you're writing that, you're like, I'm just gonna add 30 pages of whatever.
Well, I think it just sort of leads to this like, well, what's the point of getting married to like artistic transitions and like, tying stuff together? If anything's too load bearing, the movie doesn't work.
Yeah. No, this literally, again, it does the like musical sting, cut to wide shot of the school, and then we're back in a scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is as basic as you can fucking, that's TV. It's shot like a TV show.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Dave. Yeah. Why would you want a sequel? Like, what would you want from a sequel to this?
I don't know. And I'm not, I've been so tempted to look up what the sequel is.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna.
This one,
all I know is that Sharpay has a fabulous adventure in the future.
I'm thrilled about that. That's the only character I'm like, I want to check in with her again. I
know they're gonna get more budget, I bet. So all I know is the poster for High School Musical 2 is a beach theme. So I think they're going to do
a trip.
Here's this exact same movie.
Yeah.
in a different environment.
But it's the Saved by the Bell summer trip.
It's Ernest goes to blank.
Yeah.
Like I think that's going to be it.
Yeah. That makes sense to do. I'm fairly sure High School Musical 2 was a bigger deal than High School Musical 1.
Yeah, again, it blew up. The third one is called Senior Year, so that kind of tips you off there.
So wait, does this mean that these are sophomores?
Apparently.
This is okay, so this
he's the most popular kid in school, and this is like
sophomore.
his second year.
Get out of here. Get right out of here. What a musicale they put on for us.
Holy shit.
No, that's the thing that always happens in these movies. It happened also on Friday Night Lights, the TV show, where it's like they were on season 4 or whatever, and they're like, okay, it's finally senior year. And you're like, wait a minute. So like Matt Saracen's been a sophomore high school, like a sophomore quarterback this whole time?
That's amazing.
Get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever it is. It just isn't, it doesn't work. You're not the coolest kid in school when you're a sophomore. That doesn't happen.
No, sorry. In this adventure of looking it up, I learned up
something.
Well, I looked up like who's making these.
Great.
And all the pictures of directors and screenwriters are all guys in their 60s.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's it. Yeah, just white guys in their 60s.
Well,
absolutely incredible.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, if you hired Greta Gerwig to do this or somebody like that, right? Like,
they're gonna say no.
Well, yeah, they would say no, probably, because it's not challenging. Or if they didn't, they'd try to make something out of it that's not what you want if you're a Disney executive.
Yeah.
You don't want argument here. You just want print it, bro.
Director of High School Musical 3, at least, to his credit, also did Hocus Pocus and Newsies.
That makes sense.
And Newsies fucks. So
sure. I've never seen Hocus Pocus, but
I'm just wondering if maybe this will step up its game, this series. We'll see.
I know that it will look better because that's just how movies work. Like, I know it will look and be produced better.
Well, the
Twilight
Blood Rain
looked better. Yeah, but Blood Rain was a series of independent films.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
It depends on how well the first movie does, right? If the first movie does well, then the sequels look better.
But the point, Uwe Boll raised money for all the Blood Rains.
Yeah.
So like, there was never a studio that was like, let's invest in this.
Right.
That's why we decided to go to the Old West to the second one, which
we sure did.
A decision that I'll never.
Was that the second or the third?
That was the second one, Dave.
Holy shit!
It went to Nazi Germany in the third one.
Oh my god! You're right.
I know.
What if this goes to Nazi Germany?
I hope it does. Musical. Goes back in time.
High School Musical in the Third Reich. Holy shit!
Okay, all that said, Dave, I kind of miss Twilight a little bit. Like,
I kind of miss Twilight.
Like this movie's like, there's just not a lot going on in the same way.
There's more meat on the bone with Twilight. Nothing's going to ever be the same.
Way more. Yeah,
nothing's ever going to be the same.
Every time we've done one of this, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, is that the best thing there ever has been? It must be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah. We'll get more of it because there's a TV show coming up.
Man, we're going to have to watch that, aren't we? It's going to be terrible. Yeah. God, that's going to be terrible.
We're going to have to watch every single episode.
What if it's seasons? What if it's multiple seasons?
Yeah. What if it's fucking 20 seasons? What if it goes on like The Simpsons?
And you have to.
We're going to be 80 watching it.
What if
not even knowing why we're doing it?
What
anymore.
if they don't? Yeah, like the podcast audience has long since left us.
Yeah, we're not even recording a podcast.
It's just
we're just talking in the room.
Yeah. What if they don't fix the Renesmee problem? What if they just keep the baby?
You mean like? Well, no. It's so it's they're doing the entire. The apparently it's everything we watched from Edward's perspective.
Yeah, I know.
It's like Teletubbies where they went again, and they play it again.
I can't.
Like they're just doing the same thing again. But and that means a lot of those scenes will just be the same fucking scenes.
One would think. Yeah.
Because it's not like Hem and Bella aren't in scenes together when they're playing chess on their honeymoon.
Right, exactly.
That's just going to be the same fucking thing.
Like, let me ask you this. Do you really want to know what Edward was up to or thinking when he almost ruined his wife by having sex with her when she was not a vampire?
Oh my god.
Like, do we want to be in his head for that?
No.
I don't. I don't want to be there.
No, I don't want to be in either of their heads.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah, I miss Twilight. We can watch it again, I guess. We can just do it all again. Like this movie. Just cycle it again.
Just
like
reboot it.
Yeah.
Just watch it again. Yeah, it's Twilight. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah.
But it's bad.
Guy Light Reborn.
Yeah.
We'll call it Guy Light Reborn.
Guy Light Reborn. Love it.
A gritty remake.
I'm pretty sure I'll never see those movies again, though. Like I feel like
I think I've probably watched them on movie night. I think I've seen at least one of them since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you are dedicated to your fans.
It's upsetting.
You're very you're
and
suffering.
now that I think about it, I'm due watching it again on a movie night. Fuck
Shit.
it.
You're gonna have to do it again.
Probably.
That's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. Really
I spent too much of my time watching Twilight.
Yeah. Well, once was too many.
Once is too many.
I gotta ask you a question. Is there any? I feel like this series has the potential to get better. Do you feel like that? Like
yes,
this could actually
because
get
of more
better?
money. More money usually makes things better.
But
with musicals, like better sequences, better choreography, better singer, better songwriters.
I mean, I hope
he didn't. By the way,
doesn't.
What's his fuck didn't sing. That's not Zac Efron. Somebody else.
Oh, sure. I didn't assume that Zac Efron. I do think Vanessa Hudgens released some albums, so that might have been her.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't look into it.
Yeah, I mean, right.
I just happened to see that he didn't sing, but yeah, I think it has potential of getting better. I'm sure the budgets although I bet they kept the budgets fairly low because they're like, this is one where it doesn't feel like when the first one does well, they're like, let's double down. I feel like they're like, keep it exactly the same because they'll pay for it.
Do it again.
They'll buy it. The budget. All right. So the first one is 4 million. The second one is 7 million.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Those are both cheap movies. I bet it's only
I think
7
the third
million
one
to afford.
was the first.
Oh, forgive me.
Yeah.
I think it's only 7 million because you have to pay your cast more after that.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I think the third one is the only theatrical run.
Oh.
And that was 11 million. And yeah, that made almost 300 million at the box office.
So they had money.
Yeah, and then they made a TV. Oh yeah, this is they made money.
Wow.
They made money.
Wow. Well, Blood Rain didn't make money.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It made the opposite of money.
Yeah. Blood Rain took your money and anyone else's money who looked at it. It's like, here, give us $20 for that. You don't.
And it took the people who made its money. I don't think anybody got paid for Blood Rain.
Nobody.
I think it all went to Ben Kingsley.
That money. It did. He has managed to shut that down as part of his resume in a cold, harsh way. Yeah. Thrilling.
By the way, the fact that Sharpay has a fabulous adventure to me implies that they also realized they're being too harsh with her. Okay. Where they're like, well, that's just my guess. Well, because they were like, let's give her own movie. To me, means that she gets redemption by the end of this.
I'll argue. I think forgive me, Dave.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your thought.
Oh, I think it's going to be an Ocean's 11, 12, 13 thing where they keep bringing in new villains.
Yeah, I assume.
And they're like, we have to team up with Sharpay.
Yeah.
And save the day and scheme. We got to scheme.
I think it'll be what I'll call the Beetlejuice corollary, which is after you've seen the villain the first time, or the antagonist the first time, you start to like them so much that the movie forgets that they need to be a villain.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in the sequel, Beetlejuice. Is like Beetlejuice was kind of just like, he's great. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of the vibe.
Yeah. Like he's still a freak. I mean, there's a whole thing with Beetlejuice where it's almost like the first and second one is almost about the idea that it's like, at least he's honest about what he is.
Right.
Yeah. Like he's an asshole, but we know what to expect with him.
Yeah.
Like you won't be surprised. He's not a liar.
Yeah.
Doesn't scheme like some fucking high school kid,
But I just think that at a certain point you don't want to see another case of the week where Sharpay is being a jerk.
No, I think that she basically at the end of this went, I'm good now. And I think she'll never be a villain again.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. Yeah.
I would love to see one of the two lovers become a bad guy in one of these
films.
That'd be great. That'll never happen, but I would love to see
Zac Efron taking a heel turn would be cool.
Sure.
Like a Dune, like it's a Dune situation where he commits a genocide and where
he does that, or he just learns how to ride a giant sandworm. I could see that.
Yeah, I'm guessing for the second one, not knowing what it's about. I think they're on vacation or they're at camp or they're doing some summer thing, and I think they'll just introduce rival characters. Like another team, another theater group. I think that's what'll happen. Maybe some of the footballers will get into theater as well.
It'll turn into Bring It On, like something like that. Yeah.
And then I think the third one, we might get some more, like some good character work, which is like maybe that's when their relationship, like I think it's going to be, I'm going to this college and you're going to this college.
That's happening for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it might be like
what's our future?
And it's like a performance arts thing. Like I'm trying out for this college.
Yeah.
And you're trying. Yeah.
Given the tone of this, I have a feeling at some point Zac Efron's going to have to choose between his basketball career and his burgeoning singing career.
Fucking better. Yeah.
Like he's going to have to decide which incredibly successful career to pick.
Right. And statistically speaking, he's going to become an accountant.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. That's what's funny. The whole conflict is like basketball or theater. And I'm like, well, neither is going to work out statistically.
Car sales is actually a better question.
Yeah. Are you 7 feet tall? All right. Basketball. Is your fucking dad a producer who makes movies or theater? No. Okay. You're going to have to find a third option.
How do you feel about real estate?
Yeah. High School Musical 3, third option.
High School Musical 3, insurance?
Yeah.
Fuck. I love ruining these kids' dreams.
Yeah. That's the best part.
It's great. Are we done already?
I think we're done already. It's a little short, but like I think we can wrap it up. We don't need to force it.
40 minutes.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's not a short podcast.
Yeah,
nobody gets to complain about it because nobody wants this, Dave.
Nobody asked for it.
Nobody asked for this. Nobody's going to listen to it. You know what I mean? Like that's the comfort I have about
throwing it right in the sea.
Yeah, just right into the abyss from which it belongs.
Just filing it away like a record on that. On that thing we did,
like an Indiana Jones trophy. You know what I mean? Just stick it in the top men's queue.
Yeah.
We
did forget something at the top of this. We're wrapping.
It seems like we are.
Because I didn't ask you to plug anything.
Oh yeah. When's this coming out? After Christmas?
I'm planning for this to be my Christmas vacation.
Okay, great.
Meaning that like in the weeks coming to Christmas,
great,
I will be putting these out.
If it's Christmas, then most likely, there's a possibility that you can find my documentary Sanibel, which has at this point debuted at the Naples Film Festival in October. And I think we probably will have sold it then. That's the hope. So then maybe you can find it on Netflix or someplace like that now. But if not, it's coming.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love the future.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I know that my podcast with Maggie Mae Fish, Lynchpins, is available on YouTube and also on Nebula if you're interested in the longer uncut version of it. That's almost exactly like this, only about David Lynch films.
Yeah.
And let's see, there's those two things. Also, of course, you can find my many other podcast endeavors with my friends Abe and Mike and Small Beans, which is Patreon that I'm sure you're aware of, but if you're not, check it out. We do podcasts about many great things, such as video games. We do the One-Upsmanship podcast on that network. Also, I do a media sharing podcast with Maggie Mae Fish called I'll Show You Mine If You Show Me Yours. Podcast about the Morse Escape for the Multicurse. Abe and I are doing a podcast called See a Space Pod Boys about Cowboy Bebop that's been running at this point. And we haven't recorded it yet, but by the time you hear this, it will be out. So you should be enjoying that because I have nothing but joy and hope for that series. Yeah. So that's all some things. Enjoy those things, my friends, and thank you for listening to them.
Yeah. So December, I'll be in jail. So my bail fund will be posted. I will have seen Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
So that's neat.
Ooh.
And people should check out the Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. And that's it. Gamefully Unemployed. We have exclusive podcasts on there. I'm sure it's the holidays, so we do movie nights, but we might not be doing them when this is coming out. But we normally do them every Friday night. And enjoy your holidays, folks.
Is Gladiator 2 your jam? Like, are you pumped on that?
No.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm not pumped.
Okay.
I'm half flaccid.
Yeah.
As they say.
Yeah.
And enjoy your holidays. Wear your hats. Wear your special hats.
Wear your holiday hats, the ones that were depicted in this movie. Like if you got a Viking helmet, this is the time.
This is the time.
Or a giant furry top hat that only Jamiroquai would love.
Yeah, Jamiroquai.
This is the time.
Yeah, have a Jamiroquai New Year's, as they say.
Ho, ho, ho.